Good evening and welcome back to Pixels and Pints, where we're going to talk video games, TV shows, movies, pop culture, shit. Probably swear a lot. I've done that in the first 5 seconds, so we're going to demonetize, but we're not monetized anyway, are we, Pete?
No, there's a 30-second intro, which just naturally gets us around that whole
That's
rule
right.
anyway.
I remember you saying that last week. And while we
fuck then.
That's right. Fuck the YouTube police.
While we talk about some movies and games and TV shows, we're going to be consuming some delicious, mostly Australian products. I'm assuming everybody's got Australian or New Zealand products tonight. Beers?
Think so.
Yes.
I have options for later. I might
have options.
Not.
By the way, I'm Dan. I'm here tonight with Pete.
Howdy.
And a slightly deaf Thomas.
Fuckity fuck.
And away we go.
What are we drinking? What are we drinking?
Nice,
meant to go.
Nice pause right there.
Well, Jesus Christ, mate! You do the intro and then you go. And what are we drinking first?
Fucking
hell!
How
many episodes have we done now? What is it?
We've got a handhold here now, do we?
Hi, my name's Dan. Intro done.
Yep.
Well, bike on a Christ. I'll tell you what I'm drinking.
Yeah, what
I'm
are you drinking? That was an unusual looking can.
Oh, it's yellow and white. It's a I was saying it looks like a classic video game pill is what it looks like. Light's very bright today. Can you
it is very bright.
Off, you dirty dog. There we go. Nope, does nothing. There we go.
There we go.
Loophole's the brewery. This is their Draught or Draught. For all those people who look at a tasting room sign and see DRAUGHT and go, oh, draft or drought. Yes, that's me picking on the Australian public. Fuck yourselves. A crisp and refreshing lager. I don't think we've had these guys on the podcast before. No, they're from South Australia. Hello, you're half an hour behind us. Suckers.
They're about 50 years and half an hour behind us.
Whoa, okay.
Shots fired. Just kidding, we love you.
Adelaide's a very nice place, actually.
It is a lovely place.
I've walked around Adelaide quite a bit on some trips over there, and it's yeah.
Adelaide is a lovely place. It's an interesting place because for a CBD location, it's quite small. And then you wander out of Adelaide and it gets very South Australia very quickly because Adelaide's a small town in a pretty big state. Anyway, sorry.
This is interesting.
How's your beer?
This is it is refreshing. I wouldn't exactly say it's crisp. It's got a lot more of that that kind of like almost Belgian-y kind of flavors coming through.
Oh, Tom's favorite style of beer.
This yeah. I mean, it's not one of those fucking saison motherfucking dumb horse blankety fucking shit. Fuck. Can I keep swearing all night? I think I'm in a swearing mood tonight. No, it's
might
just
get a bit tedious to hear, but sure.
Yeah. For what you would put as a draft on, like normally you'd expect it to be kind of, I think especially most Australian breweries tend to do that thing where they put the draft lager on because it's for all the people who aren't really into craft coming in. And you're like, I just want a normal beer. It's like, well, here you go. This is your traditional Australian draft lager, but this has a little bit more of that kind of Belgian-y, I wouldn't say funk, but like
it's
probably esters, like the ester character. Yeah. So
it's listed as an ale on Untapped.
Maybe that's it then. Maybe that's it.
Like a traditional ale, it's listed as.
I mean, I just expect these usually to be some sort of a lager. It's quite good. I'll give that a solid 4. That's quite nice.
So okay, 4 is a good score. It's the newest edition. Loophole Brewing core range is a hybrid between an Australian draft dry and a golden ale. We mashed at a low temperature like a lager, so it has a dry, crisp finish. No dry hop, just a little.
Nothing about that on the back of the can at all.
Just a little, and by this we mean teeny tiny amount of Galaxy Hot Side, malt pale Munichen carapils. It's pretty basic, easy drinking beer, just yellow, wet goodness to keep everyone else happy.
Yeah, they're talking about old English words and monks and all sorts of things on the back there. So probably would have preferred that description, to be honest. But yeah,
Let's go.
It's a solid beer. Very well done.
Nice.
Label's not straight, but you know what? Can't be perfect.
Mongrel bastard kids.
Whoa.
Dan, do you want to go next or you want me to?
You go next. I'm just reading an article.
Oh, okay, is it on topic, or you just decided to randomly do fucking homework?
I just decided to just defer
He
out.
wasn't
I
listening
didn't
to
want
whatever I was
listen
saying
to
and
prattle
decided
on,
to do
so-
some homework.
Yeah,
Sure.
exactly.
I've got a beer that's really disappointing me, actually. So this is going to be interesting to talk about. This is Black Hops Brewing Foreverland. It's a grapefruit XPA. It comes in at 5.5%. It smells fucking great. Smells like grapefruit. Big pithy grapefruit and citrus dominates the aroma and flavor with a smooth, soft, hazy malt bill to balance it out. Toned down Neverland in a more sessionable package, perfect for those warmer days. What I get out of it is lots of grapefruit on the nose, but flavor-wise, it's thin, watery, disappointment in a can, and almost tastes. I'm really hesitant to say this, but I can't find a better adjective in my brain. It tastes a bit dish soapy.
Yeah.
No, soapy's a good word. Yeah.
Thin grapefruit notes, but just really, I mean, they say sessionable at 5.5%. I guess that that kind of tracks, but I would have expected sessionable to be more in the 4.5% range, but just thinned out. It's like they took a 6.5% IPA and added water. That's what it tastes like to me. So yeah, I'm really disappointed. So I'm going to give that a 2.5 because that's disappointment out of on a scale of 5 for me.
yeah.
I know that doesn't.
Yeah. That's
Fight 'em.
that's fine.
Fight 'em.
2.5. I've got I'm going outside of my comfort zone here a little bit because I don't like cucumber. I've got Bright Brewing cucumber and basil sour.
Oh, I just got a keg of that.
This is going to be too bright as well. It's nice. I wouldn't classify it as super sour. It's that light tart, slightly tart kettle sour side of things. It's got some light cucumber flavors to it, and I was kind of expecting some of the basil to sort of hit on the back palate. I guess it does kind of a little bit, but not a huge amount. It's fine. It's clean. It's a refreshing kind of product, but not over the top in coming forward with. That doesn't really make sense, but it's not presenting the flavors that they make quite a big deal about on the front of the can.
Yeah, okay.
It's I mean, there's cucumber and basil.
I like the design, because we got the same decal with it. I quite liked that. I think it was nice.
Stood out. Like it's nice and clean with there's a lot of elements to it, but still they're bold and nice and clean elements on the can itself. Yeah, it's fine. It's savoring the mouth-watering freshness. I don't think it's got an acidic pop, unfortunately, but I like things super sour, and I had that Yuli's one last podcast that was really sour, and I had another one of their Dolly beers the other day, which was bang on sourness. It was really nice. It's got some sea salt in it. Yeah, I mean, it's probably got that saltiness on the end. I just would have liked that basil to be a bit more presented.
Pronounce, yeah.
Which I guess is probably a very hard flavor to get to come across in a product
and you very easily run the risk of going over the top and overbalancing the beer.
I'm sure you could, and then you might end up with that sort of soapy.
It's a pizza beer
you're talking about. It's fine. It's nice. It's I'll give it a. I'll put myself in a hole here with quarter points, haven't I?
You could abandon the hill that you decided to die on randomly. No one asked you to.
I know.
I don't know where it came from. It was very fucking random.
I don't know. You said something about quarter points, or we were having an argument about quarter points or something.
I believe it was in one of my Untapped rants we were talking about quarter points.
it might have well been. We'll go 2 3/4 then.
2 3/4. Okay. Questions. You said Bright Brewing?
Yes.
Okay. It's not on Untapped, that
in
cucumber
Victoria.
basil sour.
Isn't it? Is it not?
What's the style of beer?
It's a kettle sour. Yeah.
So it's a kettle sour and ABV?
4%.
Thank you. Just getting our records together. Maybe I'll even update Untapped.
Uh-oh.
Cool.
It was packed on December 5th, so it should well be on Untapped.
Maybe I'm just dumb.
How are you spelling bright?
The way that I would spell it if I was asked to spell the word bright.
Okay.
Which
Is that a trick question?
Because you avoided that question very
Sorry,
well.
I found it. It wasn't. It was cucumber. I'd misspelled. I didn't even see the typo. I found it. Stop looking. 15 IBU.
But sometimes in the brewing industry, especially the Americans, they do spell bright BRITE.
Yes, but I'm not a seppo. Should we move into?
I didn't know that term still existed. Wow.
Of course it does. It was invented by the fucking Anzacs. It's rhyming slang. Septic tanks for Yanks. It wasn't even actually offensive originally.
I mean, you just called someone a septic tank. I think you called an entire people a septic tank. I think that might be slightly offensive.
It was never intended to be, but sure. Should we kick off with some news?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Are we starting with the Trump indictment? No, we're not. All the news is yours, Tom, so take it away.
We interrupt this broadcast with some breaking news from the front.
I am the news. Welcome to my segment. E3 has been officially cancelled again. Who gives a fuck? See you later. Fuck off.
Yeah.
I much prefer the new trailer fest we get from Jeff Keighley, the dude who does Summer Games
Keighley.
Fest. That's it.
That's
all E3 was. It was trailer fest. I'm sure if you went to it, it was fun. You got to play with some new toys, but otherwise,
I think you're better off spending your money going to CES. You want
yes,
to play with new toys?
I don't know. I was looking for some other acronyms and I really fell short. PAX.
What's
There you go.
CES?
PAX is good.
PAX.
CES is Consumer Electronics Show. So that's where like the latest technology around TVs and fucking phones and VR goggles and
That would bore me to death. So you can keep that one all to yourself.
I'm an IT nerd. Shouldn't come as any surprise that I love that shit.
That's true. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yes, E3 has been officially cancelled again.
We talked about its likelihood of being cancelled a couple of weeks ago.
We could kind of see the writing on the wall. Sony had pulled out, Nintendo had pulled out, and then in the most recent months, Microsoft said, "Yeah, we're not going to do it." And then Ubisoft was there when they went, "Okay, sweet, pull the pin."
Yeah, Ubisoft said we're out, and everyone said, "Who cares?" No one was going already anyway.
Yeah, it was kind of a bit late for them, but they were like, "Hey guys, we're one of the cool studios. We're pulling out too. Okay, see you later." So yeah, all right, no more. We'll have to wait until next Summer Games Fest for that trailer dump. So I can
Which is June anyway.
Lie in bed with my phone and just go, pretty.
Yep.
The next bit of news, I'm actually really excited about this. So the National Classification Scheme in Australia has decided that any game containing loot boxes is to be given a minimum M rating. So that's, you meant to have a parent with you to buy it if you're under 15. But any game containing simulated gambling, and I put in notes here, remember poker mini games, anyone? Because they used to be everywhere in any game you played. They had to be given an R18 rating, and this is in an attempt to minimize gambling harm to minors in Australia, and good fucking on them. I think that's the best thing that the National Classification Scheme has ever done.
Oh, it's the second best thing. Let's be honest, and it took them way too long.
Very interested to see where this is going.
It took them way too long to come up with an R18 rating in Australia, and they were just banning games.
Yes. No, this is a great move.
It is a great
gambling's
move.
fucked. Pokies suck.
Loot boxes are gambling.
Yes.
I'm glad that our national body has recognised that sufficiently to put an M rating on it.
Yeah.
When you say poker mini games, do you mean poker, like card poker, or
you got to know
machine?
when to hold them? When to fold them.
Hey, I quite regularly log into Red Dead Redemption just to play poker. Thank you very much. I like going into an Old West saloon and
I was just saying, they used to be the
side.
They used to be the mini game in every single game,
Yeah.
in like the PS2 era. Everything had a poker mini game.
Yeah.
Do you reckon
There's always
Gwent would
Texas
count?
Hold'em. Yeah,
Gwent? Yeah, well, it is gambling.
it's gambling. Yeah, it would be.
Yeah.
So-
Okay. Not that Witcher was ever getting less than an M rating already anyway, but
Yeah, well,
no, it'd now be an R.
Well, now
Same with Red
that'd
Dead.
be an R18 game. Yeah.
Yeah, Red
in
Dead.
Australia.
Red Dead was always going to be R anyway. So
yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm glad for it.
I'm actually I meant to flip these in the notes because I wrote a whole bunch of upcoming April game releases, and it's very funny. The first one I start with which you may think is a weird one to start with, but it leads on from this in a way. So there's Disney Speedstorm is coming out. It's Mario Kart with Disney characters, and obviously we have a bunch of dads who listen, so this is one for them. Something to put the kids in front of on the Switch, or if you can, if you've got 2 accounts and you can remote play your game while they're playing that, well done. Or even if it just gets you a couple of minutes of quiet, well done. So that's coming out on April 18th. It's free to download, but there's a catch. And the catch is loot boxes. So they've actually said you can pay to get all the characters, you can pay to get all the tracks, all the cars, all the costumes, but you can also earn the coins to get these naturally. It's just going to take you 17 times as long to get them.
But if you can earn coins, is it then down to chance when you open the loot box whether you get something, or are you guaranteed to get something that?
No, it's. I really think this is based on the Hot Wheels game that I played recently, which was you could only get certain cars by you earned coins and gears and whatever through races, and then you had a loot box system, but it was like I never had to actually pay for anything. I had the option to if I wanted to skip ahead and get 1,000 of the currencies, in-game currencies, I could pay real money for them, but I wasn't at any point forced to or locked out unless it was DLC content, which I think was that's a kind of different point.
Yeah, but so it's not a gambling loot box; it's just to earn coins to unlock the rest of it, kind of stuff.
Yeah. But so well done, Disney. Just as they bring this in, I'll keep going with the upcoming April game releases. We'll breeze through them. There's a couple coming out, so we've got these are the ones I think we would most be interested in. So Horizon Forbidden West, the DLC Burning Shores is out on April 19th. It's about $30 on the PS Store. Dead Island 2 is being released on April 21st. Comes at about $100. So that's been a pretty long-awaited sequel for that series. The trailer looked great. I watched one of the gameplay trailers. It looked gory and stupid and a bit fun, but in a bright, colorful LA boardwalk setting. I think that's a kind of, I like it when they get post-apocalyptic games, but set in a quite bright and neon kind of
we're happy
landscape.
Everyone died. Let's party.
The strange thing about that Dead Island 2, I'm interested in it. I like the first Dead Island. It had its issues, but I thought the zombies and the beach resort was a fun thing. Sorry, Indy's just gone, fuck you, I'm leaving. I don't want to listen to this shit anymore. I'm listening to a 3-way conversation, but only one part of the 3-way conversation, so she's fucking out. Indy's my dog, by the way. It's not my wife. But Dead Island 1 was an open world. It was open world for the chapter you were in. So the island, the resort was the first part. The second part was an open area there. I heard that Dead Island 2 is kind of more level based.
Oh, okay.
Be interesting to see what happens there when people start getting release copies and we actually start to see some hands-on reviews.
The next one to come out, which actually I put this in for you, Dan. I thought you'd be most interested in this. It's called Bramble the Mountain King. It comes out on the 27th of April. It's $55 for the PS5 version. It's the only info I could find. The demo is currently available on the PlayStation Store if you wanted to try it. But it's a child going through a bunch of Norse fairy tales and bedtime stories, and it was it's kind of I wouldn't say side scrolling, but it's almost like walking pace. But it's it's a small innocent child and at one point he has a glowing sword and he's fighting giant Norse monsters, and I was like, you know what, it's just an adventure story thing that and I was like, I think Dan will like this one. So
definitely up Dan's alley.
And just looking at some of the screenshot here, the bits and pieces of it, and the way that the kid, exactly how you're describing it, as being well out. There's one bit where he's walking over a bridge and there's this troll in the background and he's getting picked up by another creature. But it reminds me very much of it's not Little Monsters, Little Nightmares.
That's I think the vein it's in. Yeah,
it kind of has that feel to it, which I really enjoyed. Little Nightmares just being completely underpowered. You couldn't fight anything that you were up against. You needed to run and hide and find your way through the levels in clever ways. So yeah, this definitely interests me.
Well, there you go.
I'll get back to everybody on that when it comes out.
Thank you very much. The last the last run we're very much excited for, obviously, Jedi Survivor. It's finally coming out on the 28th of April. For those who haven't ordered it yet, it's going to cost you about $140 on PlayStation Store, and there are cheaper copies available online, I've seen, but that's the kind of the most, I guess, you pay. That's why I thought I'd chuck that in there.
I kind of wasn't. I'd kind of gone off this in the last few weeks. I was a bit on the fence about it. I've got a couple of games lined up. I want to play the Dead Space remake, and there's a couple of others there that I thought I might line up before this. But I watched somebody got a few hours hands-on, 4-hour hands-on.
Hands-on previews have been coming out.
And even the stock footage they were given to play while they talked about it, he's quite open and said it wasn't his footage that was on screen. It was footage he was given. I'm back in. I might not get it day one. I might see if I can punch out Dead Space before I get it, but it's definitely my number 2 to get onto soon. So
I pre-ordered it as soon as it was announced. Actually ran to eBay and put an order in, and they went, "Yep, you're that guy." And I was like, "You're damn right I am."
I will play it, but I'm not going to rush out and nab it up quickly. I've got a few games.
Yeah, sorry. It's actually funny that we say that because I'm super keen for it. I really want to play it, but my thing is, I think actually on that, I'm not going to rush to finish it just because of the last few big games I've gotten that I've been so excited about. And Hogwarts Legacy is the perfect example of this. It was a buggy fucking mess. And I'm actually thinking
but that's just the luck of the draw, man, because I finished it. I was playing it as hard as you were, and I got through it without any bugs, and with a bug that got fixed straight away, and then hit the plat. So it's just luck of the draw, man. But
it shouldn't be. That's
no, it shouldn't. Absolutely not.
So yeah,
and they still haven't
kind
fixed
of
it. It's atrocious.
I want to jump straight into it because obviously I really like the story of Cal. I liked where it was going. The things I've seen. I've done a bit of a Dan, and I've stopped. I see an article on it. I'm like, no, you know what? I'm good. I'll wait. But something popped up as like a preview thing, and it was you can. It was it was like a little short on YouTube, and it was so that he can edit. He's no longer can just edit his poncho, but you can edit his entire look.
His face, his facial hair,
everything.
His facial hair came up, and in my mind it jumped out because we talked about it last episode.
You can give him a mullet and a handlebar mustache.
No, you get a big beard now. You can get a Dan beard.
Oh yeah, no, the guy, some of the footage that they let these YouTubers put up, they put him in a brown jacket with his ginger slightly curly mullet and a handlebar mustache. It's atrocious. It does not fit into the Star Wars.
That's the hero that Star Wars needs right now. Yeah, not this Pedro Pascalian man. We need ginger mullet, handlebar mustache.
Anyway.
So yeah, that's the end of the month. That's kind of April. There are some good games in there. I'll probably there's a few others that are coming out that I wasn't particularly interested in. I don't know if you guys really had a look. But that's what's coming up. I can't wait to get back into dodge rolling, swinging lightsabers. It's
I'll play Horizon before I play that, I think.
Yeah. I mean that Burning Shores DLC does look really good too. So that's definitely on my list. Yeah.
And it's PS5 or next gen, current. What do we call? Are we calling them next gen or are we calling them current gen yet?
They're current gen now. Yeah.
They're current gen. Okay.
Yeah. PS4's now last gen. Yeah.
It's current gen only.
Which
the Forbidden West.
Oh really? I didn't see that.
The Burning Shores is PS5.
Yeah, you're right.
Xbox Series, whatever, blah blah blah. It is that one.
Right. That one.
Sorry, the Xbox people.
What's funny you say that.
I'm completely confused.
PS exclusive. It wouldn't be Xbox.
Oh, there you go. The PS5 exclusive is. Oh,
just
there you
PS5.
go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sony
just
Studios,
PS5 then.
There we go. All right, PS5 only. So yes, Pete's favorite segment, the PS Plus games that are coming out for April. The first one actually looks interesting, but I don't know if I get into it. It's called Meet Your Maker. This is actually this is a thing they're starting to do, which is ripping off, homaging. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. Copying. Let's just say copying. That's probably the easiest way to do it. What the Xbox Game Pass has been doing for so long is this is a day one release, so you get it as part of your subscription, but it's being released as part, like it's free on your subscription kind of thing. And it's a post-apocalyptic raiding and building game. So the idea is that every level is built by the players. You build your little.
About this, I'm sure we have.
Yeah, I think we came up as like a trailer.
VR game as well.
It may have a VR option. I think I don't know if this is just PS4 and PS5. I don't know if this is being released on VR. Maybe they're bringing out VR later.
Okay,
but yeah, it's
really familiar.
You build your tower, and anyone can raid it. But then the whole point is to get more like materials to fix your tower. You have to go raid their thing. So it's just it looks it's fun.
I'm sure we talked about it. You design a puzzle box adventure.
I think it was in a trailer trash 3-4 episodes ago, something like that. Yeah.
So you basically design a
death box.
Yeah, it's like an escape room with the intention of killing the person inside it, and then you invite your mates to try and beat it. And yeah, that's a recipe for a lot of fun.
Yeah. So that's it's PS4 and PS5 on PlayStation. This is just the basic PlayStation Plus for this month. The other one we're getting is Tales of Iron, which is a hand-drawn like side-scrolling RPG where there's medieval rats and they're versing barbarian frogs, which is a great concept in my mind. It's the art style's really cool. I watched the trailer for it. The art style's really cool in terms of like looks just like hand-drawn and almost like Paper Mario, like where it looks like they're just paper cutouts that fighting each other and stuff. And then if you really hate yourself, like I do, Sackboy: The Big Adventure is the third game. Looks like an innocent platformer, but if you want to drive yourself absolutely insane trying to finish that last level, go nuts. Welcome to my hell. I've been there, done that, and you know what?
You got the platinum.
Would I do it again? Probably. I mean, I do. Yeah.
You are
masochism is great. It's fun. But yes, so they're all actually available to download as of now. They have all come onto the PlayStation Network. They're all both available on PS4 and PS5, which is a nice little change. Usually it's kind of like 2 or 3. Like there's one game that misses out on one platform.
One of the platform. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Moving on, and this is one I think we're all a little bit excited about. So the Paramount Global, which is all the Paramount Media thing, Paramount Plus and all that kind of guys. The Senior VP of Games and Emerging Media. Interesting that games and emerging media, like as if games haven't been around for the last 30 years. Yeah, well done, mate. He said that they have a game based on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles' Last Ronin story. It is in development, and it is taking inspiration from the latest God of War games. They haven't said which studio is doing it, but that is just, if it's done by a good studio, that is a recipe for success.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely recipe for success.
I don't think we should really go into what the Last Ronin story is about.
No. I mean, we can touch on it. I mean, I've read the first issue. I probably should go and read the rest of them. It's the 4 Ninja Turtles. There's one of the 4 Ninja Turtles left. The other 3 are deceased. The other 3 and Splinter are deceased. And the last Ronin, the last ninja without the samurai without the master, is on a path of revenge.
Yeah,
I won't say which turtle it is. I'll leave that up to the imagination. You do actually find out at the end of the first or second issue. I can't remember. So I think I've read more than one issue. I think I've read a couple. You do find out at the end of quite early on which Ninja Turtle it is, but just because somebody calls them by their name, not through their actions, you actually can't tell through their actions.
Right. Interesting.
Which turtle it is, because he has all 4 sets of weapons.
Well, parts of all 4 sets of weapons. Which I think is the cool. Yeah, he's got like one of each. Like, you know.
Yeah. So there's no telling through the fighting style or what he does which turtle it actually is until they're named. So it was interesting which one they chose to be the last Ronin, but it's a cool concept and could be a very, very, very good game, and we definitely need an adult Ninja Turtles game.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Last little bit from me, and I think this is also really cool. The PlayStation Store has, I think in their latest update, they've added it, or they are adding it. Accessibility tags to help you search for games if you require any sort of accessibility thing. So if you're like the accessibility issue that you have, say for me, cutting out the tinnitus noise in first person shooters because it's killing my ears at the moment. Like I could search for that. If you need high contrast visuals, which I don't know if you guys played around with any of that when you were looking at the settings in God of War, but it puts if you need that kind of vision addition to your game, it puts like a monochromatic kind of almost like sleeve over characters that matter or the characters you need to focus on. So you can go and see it in the settings section of God of War Ragnarok. And it literally just has a section where I think they're just walking around the Yggdrasil, and Kratos is kind of doused in like a matte red. You can still see like the way he moves and all that kind of stuff. And then Atreus was in like a green, just so they stand out against the backdrop and stuff. And I think this is a great thing. You know,
agreed.
I'd hate for anyone who really likes playing games to not be able to play them, and because they can't focus on characters, or there's like, I mean, I've played so many games where it's, especially in that like mid 2010s like period where everything was just brown. It was just brown backgrounds and brown characters, and everyone was dark and mottled and grey and kind of stuff. And it's like, if you had, vision issues, there's no fucking way you'd be able to see half the shit you need to see in that. So I think it's a really cool thing. But also, like, if there's a game you wanted to play, you can check now. You can be like, is this something I can play if I have this, that I need to look up? And it's like, yeah, sweet, now you can. So it's a good step forward, and I hope the other consoles chase up after them and add that in. Yeah,
I need that stuff just because I'm a dumbass. And it's like changing, like there was so many times in God of War Ragnarok where Atreus would go, "Oh, hey, look at this," and I'm like looking around, where the fuck is the little shit? Like, looking around everywhere, and I was like, "The fuck are you getting me to look at?"
It's actually really funny you say that. I saw an interview, like a snippet of an interview with him because they were at the BAFTAs because God of War was up for some awards, and he was talking about his playthrough of Ragnarok, and he's like, Jesus Christ, I just needed myself to shut the fuck up. I hated hearing my voice after a while. He's like, I'm trying to do a puzzle and suddenly I'm telling myself how to do it, and it's like, fuck off, brain, like shut up.
Yeah. He said he got sick of the hints were given out way too quickly, way too often. Yeah. Like, give me a second to figure it out for myself.
Yeah. Let me have a look around. Maybe I am just looking at the scenery you've created because it was beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. Last of Us does that with a look with the L3 or hint with the L3. And it's like, I know where I got to go next, bro. I'm fucking exploring and getting stuff.
100%.
Found a pair of scissors and some fucking gaffer tape. The next bit of news, I'll rattle off a couple of quick items. HBO Max, this is another one of those. Why? HBO Max are now formally working on a Harry Potter reboot TV series.
Oh, my God.
J.K. Rowling's directly involved.
Oh, she is. Is she? Okay.
Yep, and they're planning on doing one season per book.
And he's very excited. Louise just got home. I don't forget.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was Jasper, to be honest.
Oh, really?
I was like,
sort of. So I don't think we needed a reboot.
It's too soon. Like 20 years, granted, but still, like.
And with all of the controversy around J.K. Rowling, I don't think it's going to be nearly as successful as it was the first time around either. And the second piece was
HBO will not let sleeping dogs lie.
No, just keep milking the cow until it's dead. However, for all of the money they dumped into Lord of the Rings, is it Rings of Power? Rings of Power. I read it down wrong. Only 37% of viewers finished watching season 1.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's a really scary number, like scarily low number.
Well, it's a low percentage, but how many is 30%?
of Amazon Prime viewers.
Yeah. Of the people that started it, I mean, is 37 10 million people? Is it 1 million people? Is it 100 people? Is it us three?
It's 100 million people worldwide, including 25 million viewers on its premiere day.
I think 37% still pretty good then.
Well, yes, but it's only 37 million out of 100 million that started it. That's a lot of millions.
Okay, it wasn't 100 million. The 37 wasn't 100 million.
It's 30. What?
What was the total viewing?
Carry the one.
100 million people.
Yes. Okay. I thought you were saying the 100 million was the 37%.
No. 100 million started the season. Only 37 million finished it. Now, 37 million people is still not a low number. It's higher than the population of Australia. But it's the 66 million people who gave up on it before the season finale that's the scary number. 66 plus 37? I mean, 63, sorry. Listen, it's been a long fucking couple of days.
If that was a cinema release, that would have made just under $1 billion at the box office.
Yeah, right. So
with that many people watching it, it would have been just under $1 billion.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right,
I don't think Bezos is too worried. I think he's probably just going to go, just have some more money. It's fine.
Yeah, but how much were they investing in each episode?
It was $1 million per episode or something stupid like that.
Yeah,
it was more than that.
It was like $100 million series or something.
Yeah,
they actually had a fire on set the other day for filming season 2. No one was hurt.
Didn't a horse die on set in one of these?
The never-ending story. Yeah,
drowned in a pool of quicksand.
Wasn't it
just traumatizing our entire older audience right there?
Yeah.
Yes, it was the
PTSD flashbacks.
Was it the Field of Sorrows or something like that he drowned in? I'm fucking Googling that shit. Where does a trail die? It's not a trail either. What was the horse's name?
Atreyu.
Yeah, whatever. What was the horse's name?
I don't remember.
Okay, anyway. I will Google that shit while we continue.
Knight Rider.
Tom, you were going to cover this.
Yep, I'm prepared for everything that I do. Yes, The Last of Us One PC port has been plagued with many, many issues. I don't know. Did you guys see any of the screenshots of it?
No.
It's pretty bad. Like, it's
entertainingly bad.
Yeah, it's just laughable. But I mean, that's what the PC master race deserve for their years of abuse, and they can Control Alt Delete D's nuts into their mouth. There you go, cop that. That's for you, Suey. Welcome. You're welcome.
It's too long for an episode title.
Yeah. Control Alt D's nuts. There you go. That's 3 words. Yeah, that's. I mean, it does suck. Like
it does.
But also just buy a PlayStation. I mean, you upgrade your PC every 6 months. It costs you about the same as buying a console. So just buy the console and it's fine.
Buy a PS3 for $10 off eBay and the game for $2 and play the fucking game. Costs you way less.
Yeah, notwithstanding the fact that if you want like a 4080 or a 4090, you're up for between $2,500 to $3,500 for a video card alone. That buys you 3 PS5s just for a fucking video card. Yep. So. And it was the swamps of sadness that Artax dies in.
There we go.
It was going to bug me. So it would have bugged somebody who listens to us as well. So
we're going to go right into the swamps of sadness with this last bit of news because I think this is sad.
This was my little throw in. There was a Crafty Pine article today. Exit Brewing pulling up stumps. They're a gypsy brewer from Victoria. I saw that article today. Went to get my beers this afternoon, and there was a Exit Brewing milk stout there, so I grabbed that.
I was about to say, because their milk stout is absolutely fantastic.
Okay, speaking of beers, I'll be right back. I need to get my next beer.
Okay, well, you do that, and we'll be on to beers by the time you get back.
Here's one he's prepared earlier.
He's got a little Pixels and Pints logo when he turns his camera off these days.
We don't get that.
So, Exit Brewing are finishing up, cited the same reasons. There's many brewers have now cited in the last couple of months.
Fucking dire.
Jesus Christ. Is increased cost of production and transport and everything like that. I mean, Black Ops announced yesterday their enormous
I was reading that article.
2.6 million turnaround that the wording in that article was quite interesting. About
Mhm.
3/4 of the way down, that they brought a new head of finance in and a new accountant, and the new CEO basically said, "Look, there's been some creative accounting going on for the last year or two, so this is what we're at a loss now. We're on to Black Ops now, Pete, not Exit. Exit are just pulling up stumps because of cost of production."
Yeah,
And
oversaturated market,
Yeah.
all the standard things. Yeah.
Completely understand that as a gypsy brewer. It's a hard market to get out there if you're doing something as a primary source of income without your own facility or without your own tap room to basically run it and support it. It's a hard world out there for those people. So yeah, it's sad they've been around for 9 years.
Yeah, they've been around for a while.
Yeah, so it's sad to see that happen.
Yeah. If anyone is interested in reading some of those Crafty Pint articles in the last couple of days, have been very good reads. Especially if you have any sort of like accounting background or just a general interest in business and stuff. Like I wouldn't say an interest at all, but obviously an interest in the industry, and just reading some of it, I was like, oh, okay, oh, that's a bit spicy, isn't it? Ooh. But yeah, really, really interesting. That's definitely something that if you are interested in any of that kind of stuff, there's been really good articles on it on Crafty Pint.
Go and read that Black Op one, Pete. I should have put it in the chat.
I think Pete would have a very good take on that one. Yeah,
you'll have a bit of a chuckle as you get to some points going through it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
What's next?
That's
beers.
The news. We're on to the beers.
Yeah, someone said that they had a beer from Exit for tonight.
Yeah,
did I miss? Yeah, okay. So I might just inject myself to go first because I, along the same lines, went and grabbed Mr. Fruju from Stockade, which we talked about last episode, is shutting down. Yep. And we've actually
they got bailed out.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. There's another Crafty Pint article.
Fantastic.
Not well.
I didn't read that one yet.
Oh yeah. Something like 5 cents to the dollar or something.
Yeah, five. Yeah.
It's not
good. Ooh, that's not so much a bailout as So
the owner of Kathmandu was the guy behind it.
The original owner or the original startup.
Yeah,
I'm not sure they're still owner, but yeah.
Yeah, right. Interesting.
So I guess they're going to build like a Stockade ranch out in the mountains or something and sell puffy jackets. I don't know.
Sell puffy jackets.
They're going to collide the two together.
Destroy the environment with their fucking waterproofing technology. What? That's not controversial. That's just factually correct.
Oh, I didn't know.
Let's put allegedly in front of that, shall we?
No. It's absolutely no. In America, they're being forced by government bodies like the EPA to phase out their use of microplastics and Teflon coatings because their fucking advanced chemistry to make waterproof clothing is actually destroying the fucking environment.
Boom.
These are companies that are actively promoting you to get out there and
enjoy the environment.
Yeah.
Why would I do that when I can sit in the comfort of my couch and play a game that's set in the outdoors and not get eaten by bugs and animals?
Or you could just fast forward through all of the destruction of the environment and just go play Days Gone again or something.
I just played a post-apocalyptic game and it was great.
So this Stockade Brewco, Mr. Fruju, is a 6% NEIPA. It's not what I expected. I don't know when this was packaged. I'd say a long, long time ago, to be honest. Best before 10th of the 6th, 23. What do you reckon?
Yeah, you got 2 months left or 3 months left on that.
Yeah, you reckon they put 12 months on it to start with?
Well, maybe not. Maybe 9.
Long time ago. I can still remember when that.
I mean, it's not bad, but it's not. It's got no hop character at all. Lots of juice. Like it's like drinking tropical juice. No alcohol burn, which from a 6%, would you expect it? You'd expect some ethanol there, but not a whole lot. There's none. But I get lots and lots and lots and lots of pith and then like tropical juice notes, which is pleasant. But yeah, not much haze protein in there. It's hazy, but no hop character, which is good. I mean, I've had palate fatigue from too much hops, so it's not a bad thing. It's just it's not what was designed to be in the can. That's all. Yeah, I'm going to give that. What am I saying that's wrong?
No, you're not saying anything that's wrong. In fact, you're saying everything that's right.
Right. Yep. Yep. I would agree on that one.
I'm going to give.
I need to go see a doctor. I think I just bit through my tongue.
Do I score it? Do I score it based on what I can taste, or do I score it based on what I think was probably originally in the can when it was packaged?
I mean, that is old. Yeah,
I'm going to give it a 4 because even at perfect hop amount, I don't think I would have, it would have blown my mind or anything. So I'm going to give it a 4. Who's going next? Someone had a dark. Was that you, Tom?
No. I've got one. I don't know
what
Tom. I don't know what Thomas has. I'm a little underwhelmed with this too. When was this packed? This was packed on the.
That's a date. No wonder.
One before.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
I recognize that can instantly.
But it doesn't necessarily mean we've done plenty of.
No,
Daytons.
that doesn't mean a thing. Because...
God damn it! This is actually out of date.
Oh no!
This actually. I'm gonna have to.
It's your fault, Dan.
Yeah, I know. I should read these freaking things.
No, because you forgot to put your order in.
Staring at you for months every time you walked into the shop, and you just
it
looked
was
at it and gone, "Not today," and just give
Did you get it?
Little on the.
Did you get it from Quakers?
I'm not going to say where I got it. Yes.
Oh yeah, because it's out of date.
It's out of date.
But it's your fault only because you forgot to place an order with Tom.
Oh yeah. Oh, that is 100% my fault. Yeah, I thought about it.
I definitely would have sent you out of date stock
two weekends ago, and I was like, shit. And it
I have a whole crate of out of date stock, and I'm just like, when Dan orders.
Yeah, but I see that in my mind, it's right next to the other crate that Tom puts aside with all of the most mismatching labels in terms of alignment. It's like, this is going to fuck with Dan.
This is out of date. I am not going to rate it.
Okay.
Because
are you going to tell us what it is?
It's Dayton Black IPA.
Okay.
Burnout. Yeah.
Because I've definitely had it. I recognize that can. It was. I think I did this on an older episode. Yeah.
That's why I was asking what it was.
Because I actually have the same thing, which I can't remember if I've done next beer I'm having. Yeah.
Yeah. I did do it. I'm going to go and tip this and grab another one.
Cool. All right.
It was really good when I had it. Peter, I did check actually. I did look on our Untapped to see if this came up. I can't tell. I couldn't see it. So, but I can't
done
remember.
550 odd beers now, so it's starting to get a bit harder.
Oh no, because you can search.
What? No, it's harder to find core range in most.
Oh yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah.
Shops.
Maybe it was hard to check if I'd had it before.
No, I know you can search our profile.
Yeah. So I'm having the Hank's first round pale ale. Fuck off, you dog. Oh, no, I'm hitting the thing. There we go.
Yeah, nice.
It's a beautiful can. So this is from our friends at Bitterfew. This is their house pale ale.
Yeah, right.
They brew it in collaboration with Akasha.
We've never had a Hank's beer on the show, so I'm impressed.
Yeah. I thought I might have had it and maybe we just didn't rate it, but I don't know. I've had many of them. This is their first round pale ale. It's a I wouldn't say it's slightly hazy. It's quite a refreshing pale ale. This one's quite malty. It's come through quite well. So this is their, as I said, their house. It is 4.2%.
Okay.
I love it. I will say I obviously have a bias. I know the guys at Bitterfew, and I obviously have a lot of respect and love for them for what they've done for the Sydney craft beer scene. But I wanted to review this one today to show like it is a really good pale ale. You can get it in cans now, which is really cool. It used to be a tap exclusive at the bar. But I picked up a 4-pack and chucked in the fridge, and I've already had 2 of the cans. And I picked it up today. So like that's how much I enjoy drinking this thing. It's got a nice tropical hop hit. It's not overpowering anyway. There's when I first poured it, it did have a nice like creamy white head that sat there and added to the aroma. It was, and it's just a really pleasant Australian pale.
Nice.
With a nice bit of hop character. But Dan, I'm having the Hanks, is the Bitterfew house pale.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I have had that there. Yes.
Yeah. I love it. Granted, I will put in a non-bias score because obviously my bias would be they get on a scale of 5, 11. Because but no, that's if I was just to pick that up blind and to crack that'd be an easy 4.5%, 4.5 out of 5. Yeah, that is a
Nice,
very
very nice.
good. Hello, Jasper. He agrees. He loves this beer. Fucking can't stop drinking it.
Just voicing his opinion in
Yeah.
the background. Backseat driver.
Oh, God, can't take him anyway. Yeah, it's really solid. Get around it if you can.
Yeah, nice.
Also, the label, bang on.
Dan, you've gotten a replacement beer. Does that mean you're only going to be able to do 3 tonight, or you've got more than 4 beers in your fridge? Reviewable beers.
I do have an extra.
Okay, cool.
I do have an extra. So I've got the latest release of Korben D. No, it's just called Korben. There's no D anymore.
What?
It's just called Korben.
And Dan loves the D.
Yeah. It's just called Korben.
Who doesn't? Is that what you said, Tom?
Yeah.
Korben double IPA from Akasha. It's the 8.5% double IPA. Obviously, I just said that. Simcoe, Centennial, and Mosaic. It's a little thin. It's it's a little thin
3%.
and lacking any solid bitterness to it.
I wonder if they changed the recipe because that used to be a punch in your face.
Yeah, I mean it's hoppy and there's a lot of like caramelly malt character to it.
Sorry, who was the brewery?
Akasha. It's Akasha. It's
I
the
don't know
Akasha
why I wrote
project.
down Yuli's. Thank you.
Because it was the 5th beer of their like original range. So they had the elements and then they had the Korben, and it was basically one big 5th element joke. That's the only way I could remember their core range. I was just like, oh yes,
we may have even tried the original on the show.
Oh, we've had it several times, but
yeah.
this is just the most recent release. It was canned on the 27th of Feb.
Yeah, nice.
27th of Feb. 27th of Feb. Yeah. It's just a little lackluster. It's got hop character there. It's got some some caramelly malt character for the body of it. It's just lacking. It hasn't. I don't know what the bitterness would be on this, but it's almost non-existent, which doesn't help. Like it doesn't help that it's not, the bitterness isn't there, accentuating all that hop character and
Simcoe,
ABV.
Centennial, and Mosaic with a huge
Mosaic.
passion fruit shine, soaring tropical, subtle sweetness, and a sublime bitter finish. Clearly not. You know, it's funny. It's obviously a reference to Fifth Element, but the actual iconography on the can reminds me a hell of a lot of Clockwork Orange.
Oh, the original label was like taxi yellow. It was taxi yellow and black. Yeah.
Yeah, anyway. I don't know. That really misses the mark for me, unfortunately. I'm a big fan of Akasha, but I don't like that one.
Fair enough.
It's and
we're not hitting it tonight, are we?
I think it just misses a lot of points for that style, but namely the bitterness. But
Korben, the Korben release used to be like back in the early days. That was on par with like when Feral brought out the
Warhog.
No, the Tusk. Remember Tusk Day?
Yeah.
Tusk Day used to send people into a fucking frenzy. Like, I definitely saw a man stab a dude in the throat to get a Tusk in front of him. Like, whether it was with
you weren't just watching the movie Tusk?
A napkin stab, yeah, but still the in essence it was there. Yeah, I remember Tusk Day. Like, by the end of it, especially if you worked in the industry and you were smart enough, you'd take that day off.
So, yeah.
And then you'd do the jump around as well and follow the rep. So I remember Damien was the old rep, and I used to follow him around and be like, just get there as he got, like, he was about to leave and be like, oh, Damien, I'm here for Tusk Day. And he'd be like, oh, cool. But by the time he got to the next venue and I'd got there, he'd had a couple more, forgotten he'd seen me. they'd be like, "Oh,
Didn't give you another one."
Tusk. Yeah, yes, man, yeah. And then I don't remember getting home.
What would you rate it out of 5, Dan?
I'm only going to give that a. Now this is
there is a battle for good and evil going on in Dan's forehead right now.
All I can see now you've said that is you remember Masters of the Universe where it was Skeletor fights He-Man at the end, and it's just a real clash of colors. It's more colorful than even a Star Wars fight. This isn't a quarter point dilemma. This is a.
Where do your allegiances lie?
No, I'll
rate the beer, not the brewery.
No. I'll rate the beer honestly. I just don't.
I've written a number in an envelope as my guess as to what you're going to say.
3.25 is what.
What did I put down, Tom?
1.
Because the envelope is the show notes, and it's been up there for about 5 minutes.
Oh, has it?
Yeah, it's 3.25.
Very funnily, just as I looked at it, the little cursor moved and edited.
Fuck off!
if it wasn't, if I wasn't being a quarter point asshole, it would have only been a 3.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah, you win some, you lose some. It's my fault. I think I jinxed us a couple of episodes ago when I said we only seem to review good beers, and we've just had a bad run.
I mean, again, I haven't.
There's exceptions to every rule, Tom. We know you,
and that's me.
You jizzed over your beer. We get it. We're going to move into some mini reviews. Dan's come out with a bunch, which is great to see.
Oh yeah, well, I mean,
I don't know. You just write things in, and I go, okay.
Are they reviews? Are they trailers?
No, well, this is where most of it. Actually, Warhammer 40k Boltgun is basically just a trailer, but I want to make some comments of it. The menu. I mean, Pete, you said you've seen the menu.
No,
you haven't seen it. You haven't seen it. Tom hasn't seen it. Okay, so I'm going to be
haven't seen anything. I've been in a video game hole the last week, and it's been amazing.
So the menu got released quite a while ago. When it's quite a while ago, this year sometime, but early this year or late
February, early Feb.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
and it is such a breath of fresh air. Like, it's creative, it's wonderfully acted, it's simple, and it's small. Mm-hmm. You've got to love a movie that can basically be set in a single room for 2 hours, but still feel dynamic and interesting the whole time. And that's exactly what this does. It's Anna Taylor-Joy and Nicholas Hoult are you two. It's basically the 3 main characters are Anya Taylor-Joy, Ralph Fiennes, and Nicholas Hoult. But Nicholas Hoult and Anya Taylor-Joy are on a date to a very exclusive restaurant that is on an island. They have to catch a ferry. It starts with them waiting on the ferry to go over to the island where the restaurant is. Ralph Fiennes is the head chef running the night. It's exclusive, something like $13,000 a head for the dinner kind of thing. Jesus. So extremely exclusive. And it's Nicholas Holt's a real foodie. Anya Taylor-Joy doesn't seem to be she's not a foodie. She's going along on the date because it's something that he wants to do. And then it just goes through this whole thing for the night. I will not go into it whatsoever because you don't want to look it up. You don't want to know anything about it going in. I know, Pete, you read the synopsis. I didn't even do that.
No, I didn't read the synopsis. I saw some the trailer, I think.
Oh, see, I saw 30 seconds of the trailer and I knew it was something I was going to watch.
I've seen the trailer. I know not the basic premise. I know of the trailer and the aesthetic more than anything. Besides that, I'm pretty blind to it as well.
And it's just beautifully written. It's got its moments. It's fantastically acted by everybody that's involved. From John Leguizamo is in it as a failing or a Hollywood actor well past his prime that has kind of done a bunch of things wrong and is trying to get his assistant. He's there with his assistant and she wants to leave and go and do something that has a future, and he wants her to stay around because she's the one that sort of gets him on the straight and narrow, gets him jobs and everything like that. So there's a whole bunch of different personalities in it, and it's just once again it's set it's almost primarily set in a single room in the restaurant for 2 hours. And once again, it just feels dynamic and different for the whole 2 hours. You're never bored. There's a whole bunch of what the fuck am I watching? What the fuck just happened moments. And it just continues on until...
I'm really looking forward to sitting down and watching it.
Yeah, until it rolls it at the end. And it is. It's just great. And I don't know who directed it. I don't know who wrote it, but hats off to him, and please do more in this kind of strain.
That's cool.
No, it's definitely something that's been on my radar that I've wanted to watch. And when you said you put in the thing on Monday, I was like, oh, if I'd had time last night, I actually probably would have said to Emma, like, let's watch it, because I know something she probably wants to see too. But time, as they say, got away from us. Didn't happen all day. Won't happen again.
Does.
Yep.
It does.
Next.
So I wanted to do a very quick mini review on Avatar: The Way of Water. And I have to say, I'm surprised that I didn't absolutely hate it. Wasn't a great film by any stretch of the imagination, but I didn't hate it. The core plot line of, the bad guys came back to Pandora was 100% predictable. And there was nothing original really about the fight. But most of the movie isn't about the fight. Most of the movie is just a feast for the eyes in terms of not just how gorgeous it was graphically, because obviously it is stunning to look at. The graphics are state of the art in terms of CGI in a movie, but also the attention to detail in the almost the conservationist aspect to the movie of inventing an entire ecosystem that fits together with perfect harmony. The Na'vi have always lived off the land, but to see another kind of sub-race, the water people, and how they've evolved slightly differently than the forest Na'vi that we saw in the first movie. Their forearms have kind of thinned out and grown ridges so that they can move through the water better. Their fingers are almost formed into permanent fins. The same with the backs of their calves. Their tails are thicker. And so they've basically evolved to work better in the water. They've got necessitating eyelids. I think that's how you say that word. They've got the second eyelid that allows them to see underwater. But then the ecosystem, the whales and the under...
Don't call them the whales. Do not call them the whales.
No,
James
they're not
Cameron
whales.
Will come out of the sky with his thunderbolts and ruin you. Because I read an article where someone was like, I called them whales on set and I'd never been more chewed out.
Yeah, but James Cameron's a wanker. We all know that. So yeah, look, it was... The storyline was a bit meh. It was a bit bland, but
no, not an Avatar storyline. Never.
But the thinking that went into building an entire ecosystem for a planet, it clearly shows that somebody smart sat down and figured all this shit out and did it well. And then the CGI is it's pushing the boundaries on believability in CGI, particularly given there isn't a single, there's almost no humans in the whole movie. There's even less than there was in the original movie.
Right.
So, yeah. Anyway, didn't hate it. Kind of surprised at myself that I didn't, but there you go.
That's been the common denominator in people's reviews that I've heard.
I expected it to be a steaming pile of shit, and it wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible.
Yeah.
Yep. Fair enough.
Do you think it needs? Do you think it needs 3 more?
No, definitely not.
Okay,
it didn't need that one.
Yeah. Okay, good.
It didn't need a second one, but
At what point in the story does Kevin Costner appear? For Waterworld?
He's just on his little raft. Just
a jet ski at one point.
Yeah, he found another woman half his age, and he's sleeping with her, and he's going to repopulate the world like he has in the last 2 movies.
Oh, yucky.
Well, I mean, Waterworld, and the postman. The postman. He just manages to visit a village, and it's like, oh, you aren't aren't sterile. Please fuck my wife. That was just a weird subplot that went on in that movie. Anyway, on to you, Dan. Follow that up.
Carnival Row. Yeah, he threw me for a 6 on that one.
I really liked the first season. We just haven't sat down and started the second.
Yeah, well, it's the second. It's the second and final season. This is it. So knowing that has been really good. Knowing that they're just
knowing there's no more left is a good thing.
Yes,
well, it's a rounded out story kind of
it's
thing.
a rounded out.
Yeah.
You know you're going to get to an inevitable end, and whatever. Like obviously,
that is satisfying in this day and age because you never know if you like cliffhanger. Anyway, we cancelled that.
That. Yeah, exactly.
And fair.
Obviously, the world.
But they fixed it with a movie, right? Yeah,
definitely.
That was sarcasm, Tom.
You know the world's not going to end
again.
But obviously, the story is of the two main characters, which is Orlando Bloom and Cara Delevingne's character. They're gonna that story is going to round out, and hopefully, it'll come to some conclusion about the humans and the Fae people being able to live together. So, for those who know nothing of Carnival Row,
Cockney London,
Cockney, it's a fantasy version of London. There's the Burgish and the Pact, so basically the English and the Russians are at war with each other. When they have a war, they find the land of the Fae, which is full of the fairy people, which are pixies and pucks and goblins and trolls, and
Was there a Minotaur at one point?
Something like that. There's a troll in season 2. Orlando Bloom goes bare knuckle up against a troll and a couple of goblins.
They have a cave troll.
They have a cave troll. Yes, it's pretty fun.
Is there a chain moment? Does the troll pick up a chain?
I don't know.
Fucking missed opportunity, right?
It's episode 1. So once you get to season 2, it's episode 1.
Oh no, we finished season 1. We're ready for season 2. We just haven't.
No, season 2. Sorry, season 2, episode 1.
Yeah,
he fights the troll. It's the pixie people and the Fae people are all racially vilified, put in their slums, and Carnival Row is the main street in what is the main name that they call the people? I can't remember, but the Fae people. It's the main street in in their district, kind of thing. And
it's kind of almost reflective of I remember this from season 1. It felt like it was because you have the I know I'm thinking of the really rich puck dude is who I'm thinking Minotaur.
He's a puck.
Yeah. But it's kind of like the Carnival Row is almost like the Moulin Rouge strip.
Yes.
It's taverns and brothels.
And the makeup's done fantastic. All the prosthetics, it's like they're all practical. They're all practical costumes. Obviously, there is some CGI with the fairies when they move their wings properly, but you can tell that a lot of when their wings are just hanging down their back, they're practical. They're practical costumes.
It's part of a costume.
Yeah. The pucks look fantastic. They've all got different shaped horns. Some of them are really tight, close to their heads, like ram's horns. Some of them are sort of out and around, more like some bull's horns. The costuming is absolutely amazing. It's fantastic, and
you can see the production value in that series.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're going to splash out on Cara Delevingne and Orlando Bloom to be your two main characters, you're going to splash some money elsewhere too. So.
Let me point out, they did not CGI Orlando Bloom's butt that you get to see.
Okay.
So look, Emma's was for a long time has been obsessed with Orlando
judgmental.
Bloom.
Okay,
no. When that scene happened, you see Orlando Bloom's bare butt going to town on Cara Delevingne. There was heavy panting and that was from me.
Yeah.
He's got a good butt.
And he's a well-aged man too. He's got to be a little bit older.
Good, yeah.
He's got to be in his mid-40s, and he's a very one of those guys that's definitely aging better. So it's great. It's just it's a good story, and I look forward to always being dropped back into that world for an hour. Season 2, I think some of it could have been cut. There's already like 10 episodes or something like that.
Right.
But they're hour episodes each. I think some of the things get repeated kind of episode after episode until sort of episode 4 or 5 where they finally come to a head and you go, okay, thank fuck that's happened. We're not going to revisit that again for 4 more episodes.
That was from vague memory, that kind of feels like the repetition of season 1. That kind of feels like how that was.
And it's all based around Orlando Bloom's and Cara Delevingne's relationship, because they hate each other for 10 minutes and then they love each other because one saves the other, or they've come to understand something about the other one. And that kind of repeats in different ways a few times until it comes to a head, until something, I'm obviously not going to say, till something really, really crazy happens. And then, now we can move on and move to the tail end of the final season. It's Lovecraftian in points. There's monsters in there that are stitched together, flesh monsters.
Yeah, I remember those. Yeah,
and,
they were cool.
And it's just there's some magic involved, and it's just fun and well done and well presented. It's worth a watch.
Yeah, cool. She's a good actress too. I like Cara Delevingne.
I think she's really good. I think we need to.
She was underutilized as Enchantress in the original Suicide Squad. Like, obviously, she was a big part to play, but she portrayed the character well.
Tell me that something was underutilized in the first Suicide Squad. Any of the actors?
Yeah, fair. Just saying. And Valerian, I really enjoyed Valerian in the City of, or whatever it's called, City of 1,000 Planets. It was a good science fiction popcorn movie. I wish they'd done another one. It's based on a book, and hardly anyone's seen it, but I enjoyed it.
Who else is in that one?
Pierre Christian. No, they're the writers. Sorry. Yeah, Dane DeHaan and Clive Owen.
Yeah. I vaguely remember seeing a trailer for that one, but I'll check.
And
that
Rihanna.
out. Sounds good.
Rihanna was in it. Anyway, cool. So something that I have watched and would really, really, really love for you guys to see and give feedback on, but you can't because it's Apple Plus, is a TV series called Extrapolations. And it's super duper interesting. So the premise of the series is each episode moves us further into the future and extrapolates based on what's going on with global warming, and all the other issues of society, where we will be at various points. The cast is mind blowing in terms of the number of A-listers they've got to sign on for episodes. So you've got Forrest Whitaker, Tobey Maguire, Gemma Chan, Meryl Streep, Kit Harington, David Schwimmer, Edward Norton, Diana Lane. Like, it's even the supporting cast are A-list supporting cast, if that makes sense. Like, you would have seen almost everybody in it.
Yeah.
So we start in the year 2037, talks about rising sea levels and, the rarity. You can see capitalism has kind of really destroyed the fabric of society, but it's kind of advanced. Then we jump to 2046. Meryl Streep actually voices
probably looks just as good. Give her a credit.
What? Say that again?
I said she probably looks just as good. Got to give her a credit.
Yeah, she's hardly in it, actually. She's mainly voicing
I'm watching it now.
The last of Earth's humpback whales. And so we've developed, in 2046, we've developed the technology. So in 2046...
Need to know more intensifies?
we've harnessed the ability to have conversations with various animals. And the reason
Was that a plotline in Finding Nemo?
The reason they're doing it is they have genetic stock stored away so that they can recreate the humpback race in the future, but they need the non-instinctual stuff that parents pass down to children animals, and they do that by the whales are singing and a computer is translating into English and vice versa. So somebody's actually interrogating this final humpback whale to learn how they teach their young, their calves, where they go for food, that sort of stuff. They've already done that with African elephants and Asian elephants that are extinct, orangutans, rhinoceroses, all the animals that you can imagine are probably going extinct in the next 20 years. Then you jump to another 2047, so a year later, with David Schwimmer, sea levels rising, most of Florida is underwater, like all of the Keys are gone, and just how society's dealing with the displacement. Yeah. But just how society's dealing with hundreds of millions of displaced people every year as sea levels continue to rise. And then we jump to 2060, where you've got Edward Norton and India. There's a second subline in the same year where oxygen is now that bad, like that rare because of pollution. In Mumbai, society cannot go out during daylight hours. So life has switched it's basically a curfew because as soon as the sun rises, the wet bulb temperature hits 35 and people die from stroke from sunlight because there's no ozone layer, global.
Right, yeah.
It hasn't rained for like 5 years in India. And so basically society is from sunset, you wake up in the morning and you go through to sunrise when you go to sleep. Oxygen is almost impossible to come by. They actually trade in oxygen now. So you go to a bar and you buy like 2 puffs of normal air because otherwise the smog's starting to fuck up people's lungs. Everyone's got asthma. And so and that's as far as we've gotten because it's a week by week release. So we're in 2059 and it's basically extrapolating.
How many episodes have they said how many episodes it is?
Yeah, so in the first season there's 8. I don't know if it's been renewed.
Mm-hmm.
We do know that next episode, which is 7th of April, in a couple of days, is set in 2066, where artificial intelligence has basically replaced the need to date. So companionism is now a robot. That's all I know. Right. But it's super interesting, and it's so eerily easy to see that it's a possible future.
Yeah. Well, we're fucked. Anyway,
we are absolutely fucked. There's no question about it. Over to you, Dan, to talk about what happens in 40,000 years from now.
Well, this isn't necessarily a mini review because the game's actually not out yet. So this is a review of the trailer. So it really should be in trailer trash, but I don't think we're doing trailer trash tonight, are we?
We are. We just don't have many. So we can move it.
Game.
Wait, okay, let's drop it down there.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good, actually. It might help us reclaim time and get ahead of it for a change. So the last one was another one that is on Disney Plus. We all talked about Tetris, the movie.
Is it on Disney Plus?
Yeah. It's not Disney Plus, Apple Plus. My bad. I got you all excited for nothing. I'm sorry.
Fuck.
I apologize. Well, Steve Jobs doesn't care, man. Hasn't been around for a while.
I was wondering where you were going to go with that. Steve Jobs doesn't care.
Tetris was brilliant. Was absolutely fucking brilliant. Yeah, exactly. Considering it's based on a true story, it's quite incredible.
And I'd love to know. Sign me up.
He's fucking brilliant.
He's great.
He's talk about an emerging star, right? Because he hasn't been in a lot of stuff and he's quite young, but he's pure gold.
He's still not going to be a Wolverine of my dead body.
The show was great. It was like a spy movie wrapped in a video game story with some fun.
The trailer was super cool. Yeah, the trailer looked great. Yeah.
And I haven't done any research as to how much was creative license versus true story, but it's easy to believe that it could all be real, and yet it could all be bullshit.
Right.
It's one of those stories that's so far-fetched that you're like, yeah, probably happened, to be honest. The idea that
stranger things have happened that are actually true. Yeah.
The idea that a dodgy American went to Russia and bought the rights, but then didn't buy the rights and just sold rights that he didn't even own to this game. And then it's really interesting to understand that a guy sat down and wrote this software, but because they're in a socialist economy or a socialist country, the government bureau that he worked for owned all of the profits from this code that this guy wrote in his own time.
Yeah.
It's just you kind of have to wrap your head around the fact that it's a socialist society and it's very different to capitalism. Really. And then Miramax is it Miramax? Mirror something. I think it might be Miramax. And just how corrupt they are as well. It's just hilarious.
Yeah.
So, fucking watch it. It's great. If you can. I don't know how.
If you can. Yep.
Yeah.
No, it was very, the trailer is one of those ones that grabbed me. Obviously, the cast looked great as well. So definitely keen for that. But I'll wait for it to come out on a other streaming service.
I was going to say, I'm sure you can find a creative way to watch it, Dan. And it was Mirrorsoft was the actual company.
I was going to say Miramax is the film company.
Yeah. Mirrorsoft is an organization that's portrayed in the movie and was a real company. Anyway,
there you go.
Brilliant. And to see a prototype Game Boy in a lab plugged in with a rainbow SCSI cable was just brilliant. Just the awe that everyone had around this device. It was fucking super top secret. And, and Taran's character's walking around talking about, well, can I buy the handheld rights? And everyone's like, what the fuck's a handheld? And he almost let the cat out of the bag that the Game Boy existed, or at least a device like a Game Boy existed, because he's asking to buy rights for a category that no one had a device for yet.
Yeah. Okay.
So, super interesting and lots of fun.
Cool.
Yes, I think we're up to a break. Are we ready to take a break?
Break time. Half time.
Hey, hey.
And we're back. Let's start with our third beers. Is anyone ready to review a beer?
Well, I'm going through shell shock, so I'll do it here. I am drinking one of my favorites. I'm drinking a bracket beer. You probably may be able to tell. Fuck you. There we go. That worked.
Insert name.
It is a double dry hopped pale, 5.6%. The hops they have featured this time, Motueka and Idaho 7. We see it up here. Can I get a starting bid at $13? Thank you very much, sir, in the blue. That's exactly how much I paid for this beer. Yep, it's another one of their kind of... It's just the boys having fun, picking hops. I honestly think the way they do these beers now is they have a dartboard with just hops on it, and they just go thunk, and just go, yep, you know what? Fuck it, let's make a good beer with those. And they've done it again. Like it's a cracking hazy pale, and it's not too boozy.
Jesus.
It probably looks worse in my fucking light. Fuck you. No, it doesn't do anything better. The head dissipated a bit quickly for their beers. Usually it hangs around a little bit longer. It is kind
Clean
of
glass.
As clean as no, don't say it, Tom. Clean as you, Pete. There we go. That was a good cover.
Dirty.
Good cover. Yes,
you could have picked anyone. Anyone would have been cleaner than I am.
Yep, and that's why I stopped myself. Because I could have made a faux pas, as they say. Look, it's good. It doesn't have that really, like, we've talked about it quite a bit on the last few, actually a lot this season. I think it's come up quite a bit. Is that like that earthy vegetal, diesel-y almost note we talk about with those New Zealand hops? It's actually got more of like a citrusy kind of. It's not quite a burn. It's more like a warming. So it's not quite that hop burn where you're like, oh god, I've just swallowed a mouthful of hops. It was just says keep me cold, and look, honestly, same. I feel you, Ken. I'll give that. Yeah, it's another solid beer. So 4.25. Well done.
Yeah, nice.
That is
nice.
Tasty, and I think it's one of the newer ones. I can't see, unfortunately, a date on the can. Yeah, it's good. Get around them. Fuck, they're good.
It's nice.
Dan?
Yes. So I can't even say I went into this beer with low expectations, because I went in with no expectations, because I've never had sea urchin in a beer before.
You're having a Sailor's Grave beer.
I am having a Sailor's Grave beer.
When it's got a weird sea creature in it, it's got to be Sailor's Grave.
It's uni.
It makes sense.
Sea urchin and lemon myrtle Gose.
Okay.
I don't know what sea urchins are meant to taste like in a beer.
Spiky.
Or in any other. I mean, have you had sea urchin?
I've never eaten a sea urchin.
Can you?
They look terrible. Yes, you can.
They
cut them in half. They cut the spiky bits, and there's this orange foamy
on the inside,
stuff on the inside. It looks feral to someone like me who doesn't eat seafood because it grosses me out. It's called uni.
It's got this weird...
Oh, right. I was wondering why you got that reference straight away. I did not.
It's got this weird, like, orangey, herbally funk to it.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't know is if it's the sea urchin or the lemon myrtle. The lemon myrtle definitely comes through on the palate.
Right.
But I can only assume the rest of the weird characteristic is from the sea urchin. I'm just guessing here. But it's pleasantly different. It's lightly tart. It's quite refreshing. It's got a little bit of this isn't going to sound good, but it's so background that it doesn't really matter. It's got a little bit of that seafoody kind of aroma to it. Like walk into the fish markets and all you can smell is seafood.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so subtle there with a whole bunch of different sort of citrusy and that kind of weird funk aroma to it.
That's definitely not walking into the seafood markets then, because that hits you like a ton of bricks. Yeah.
No, but a much, much more subtle, like an extremely subtle version of that. It's quite what's the term when it activates your saliva glands?
Endamami? Is that what you mean? Like the meaty? Not endamami. That's a bean type.
Are you thinking of edamame? Yep.
Yeah.
Is there no N in that word?
No.
Edamame. No, there's a.
What's the dinosaur that eats Dennis Leary in Jurassic Park? I'm sure that's that.
It's the. It's the. Oh, that's a.
Dennis Leary. Anyway.
Yep. I think it's the
Newman. That's who I was thinking of.
Newman.
Is his name Dennis in the film though?
And it was Newman. It was Dennis. No,
Newman Seinfeld.
Everybody refers to him as Newman. Yeah.
And the word I was looking for was umami, which is the meats.
Yeah,
meaty, salty.
I know what umami
fleshy,
is, but there's a
is that
term,
what you meant?
No, there's a term when you taste something or put something in your mouth that was very poor choice of words that makes you salivate. And I don't. That is the correct face to pull at me saying that, Tom. I regret using those words in that grouping. It's
like
unusual,
but a nice very toffee.
And it was Nedry, by the way, that got eaten by the dino.
His name was still Dennis, right?
I don't know what he's first.
Yeah, it's
that
Dennis
sounds
Nedry.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Dennis, I have no time for your nonsense. If you could clean up your workstation, I'm not.
Nedry here. Quoting. We've got Nedry here. See, no one cares. Anyway, sorry. Rabbit hole.
That wasn't what he said, but anyway, yeah.
Thompson. We've got Thompson. See, nobody cares. Wow, we have gone right off topic. Sailor's Grave.
Right off topic, Adam. My train of thought is completely gone.
Yeah, fleshy mouthfeel is what you were talking about.
Yeah, it's really weird to describe. It's enjoyable. I'm not sure I could drink more than one in a sitting, but I would definitely go back to it again to start a session.
Are you also a kind of person who, and I am one of these people. I don't really like seafood, but I really enjoy an oyster stout for some reason. Like, are you a fan of like oyster stouts or like when like that people like add those seafoody characters to beers? Is that?
Yeah, I like those sort of things because I think they're creative when they're well done. But I love seafood. I'll eat any sort of seafood. I really enjoy it. So it doesn't put me off. It's just a weird. It's a good.
Combined... Can I just like all that Lovecraftian stuff you used to like squid mouth?
Can I describe what uni should taste like? That seafood should taste like, and see how well it describes what you're struggling to describe.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm going to gross you out. So uni is actually the sex organ of a sea urchin. That's what you're eating. The organ that produces roe, and that's why it's an aphrodisiac or considered an aphrodisiac, like oysters. Aroma of fresh, salty ocean water. Accents uni's rich, thick, creamy texture and sweet, buttery flavor. It's soft and melts in your mouth. Has a very distinct flavor and texture that is considered an acquired taste. Like most seafood and shellfish, uni should not taste fishy, but should taste like the sea. It has a prominent umami flavor accented by a salty taste.
Yeah, I think that obviously that umami side of it. It's and I think that's probably the hardest thing that I can't describe is umami really doesn't have a distinguished.
It is the
description.
It is. It's just it's not as familiar to us because we grew up with the whole concept of salty, sweet, savory. Like umami wasn't a flavor profile that we ever talked about growing up, but it's always been there.
Yeah, but I think the Japanese talk about umami as not necessarily a defined flavor, as more as an experience.
No, it's no. So it's sweet, sour, salty, bitter, and umami.
I know that, Peter. I know what that says.
What does sweet taste like, Dan?
Then it's fire, earth, wind, water, and heart.
Love.
I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thought
And then
it was
you summon
love.
Captain Planet.
It's heart.
Oh,
Heart.
it's fucking the
Yeah,
fifth
umami
element's
is heart.
love. Fuck you.
Okay. Next.
Anyway,
Peter.
What are you drinking? Looks red.
it's not. It's amber. I'm drinking.
Now you're splitting my pubic hairs. Come on, get down to it.
I'm drinking White Bay Brewing's Optimum Engagement, which is an amber lager, which I'm finding super interesting.
Oh, I got a can of that today.
Hmm.
Keen.
The reason I'm finding it interesting is because I kind of misread it as an amber ale, and as soon as I tasted, I went, "That's a
not an
lager."
ale.
Like it's got a very distinct lager. Sorry, Dan. What did you rate it out of 5, mate? I might have missed that.
Oh, I didn't rate it. Come back to me. You finish your review, and then I'll have a think
7 tentacles
about
out of 8.
Looking into the maw of doom. This is very much a lager, and it's obviously multi. Look at the color of it. That's a brilliant color
That
for
is
an
nice. That is nice. Oh, like hold it up
Yeah.
again. No, a little bit down. And to yep. No, other way. Yep. Yep. Yeah, you're looking through it now. Nice.
You fucking twat. Everyone else is waiting for us to fuck around. Most of our listeners are just listeners, by the way.
Yes, cop that. Subscribe to our YouTube.
It's a nice bitter lager. Like you can taste the lager yeast all the way through. Really interesting description on Untapped, actually. This amber lager started its life way back in January. Cool story, bro. After a painstaking and lengthy 4-step mash, we thoughtfully hopped in the kettle and whirlpool with German-grown Magnum and Hallertau Mittelfrüh hops. It's been cold fermented, naturally carbonated, and has spent months in the tank prior to packaging to deliver optimum drinkability.
Oh man, you gotta take you gotta take time for anyone who puts something for months in the tank. That is commitment.
and goes through all that bullshit to make it. Yeah.
It is an excellent fucking amber beer, though. It is, I don't know if I said it's a 5% beer, and I am impressed. I'm very impressed. I would say this is not quite a lawnmower beer in that it's not subtle about what it is, but it is a lawnmower beer in the sense that it would be spectacular on a hot summer's day. Which tonight is not. Also, the label is, probably can't see that, but it's.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can. It's fucking horrible. It's
They've even-
terrible. They've got a line.
line there to distinguish it. And it's,
For a second there, I thought I for some reason thought you were talking just about the can art, and I was like, "That's a strong view on that can art, Pete." But yeah,
No, the can art's not bad. Optimum engagement. It looks like a crash test dummy high-fiving some weird lady. I say weird because she's got a ripple effect through the artwork.
Ah, okay.
So anyway, I'm going to give that a 4.5. That's actually for what it is. As an amber lager, it's a brilliant amber lager. So
Nice.
I'm very impressed.
and just a fuck you about the Japanese description of umami.
Yeah.
It's a sense of deliciousness.
Oh, fuck off! That's a wanky way to put it.
That's what
as opposed to a
umami
sense of sweetness.
umami means essence of deliciousness in Japanese.
Sure, that's the translation, but it's also anyway.
But it had
I'm not
to
arguing
start
with you. I'm not arguing
somewhere.
with you. Yeah, you're right. I gave it a 4.5. What did you give yours, Dan?
I might give this a 3.75.
Okay, and it was just uni. Yeah, sea
Uni,
urchin. Yeah. 3.75 on the Richter scale. Cool. Sweet. Shall we move on to some trailer trash? I can do a whole episode like this.
Please
Okay,
don't,
because it'd be
because
annoying as
that's
fuck, right?
that's painful to listen to.
And derogatory.
It's not derogatory. How was it
Let's just
derogatory?
move on.
Moving
Keep
on,
going.
Simulant movie trailers.
Yeah, have you guys seen this trailer?
I did watch this trailer. Yeah.
It's just starring Robbie Amell and Sam Worthington.
You
And
love a Robbie Amell show.
Shang-Chi's been busy too. He's both in Barbie and in this.
Don't say the B word. We said we weren't going to say it. We know that Pete's upset.
Well, just not upset. Just my brain just went. Anyway, Robbie Amell's at risk. I do like his work, but he's also at risk of typecasting himself because he only seems to be in like near future science fiction movies, and
where
it's
he
not
plays
actually
some sort of robot character.
It's not quite true. I went and looked at his history, and he's not actually been in that many. But it's the roles that he plays in those movies, like Code 8, stand out. So he wasn't a robot in Code 8. He was a mutant with superhero powers.
And does he always play that straight-faced stoic character? Because that's what he seemed to do for most of that trailer.
Yeah. Look, I love a fan fiction version of Blade Runner, and I might watch it.
It kind of is. It reminded me of a few other things like Westworld, very Westworldy, really. Mm-hmm. He was also in Upload, which was actually quite a good TV series, very tongue-in-cheek. Near future, when you die, you upload yourself to the cloud. And it kind of felt a little bit like that as well. But, it looks a bit of fun. It depends on how seriously it takes itself as to whether or not it's going to work out. But, yeah, check it out. Simulants. When's it out? Did you put it down? You did
April
all the research.
7th. I did.
You're a legend. So it's out in 2
Robbie
days.
Amell, Jordana Brewster, Simi Louie, and Sammy Worthington. It is directed by April Mullen. When I was doing this, I was struggling to find some actual release dates or what it was going to be on. So Simulant was it's part of Film Canada, so it's getting a US and Canadian release, but I don't know if it's getting a cinematic release here, and they hadn't stated which streaming service it would be on yet, because I tried to include that because I thought that was good for our punters. Yeah, but do look after you little earlobe people that listen to my voice. Yes, listen to it. Yes, get right in there.
What we do learn from the trailer is that Robbie Amell's character dies, and is then his personality is implanted into an AI. I think that's the
Sam Worthington gets a really shit mullet. That's also what I learned from the.
Sam Worthington's a bit of a hit and miss. He's obviously an A grade actor, but he's been in some fucking B grade movies. So
the gun was really that's a cool. Guy. I liked the gun, the mid-air throws, the droids. Yeah, I thought that was cool.
Look, I think if we don't take it seriously as a show, and it doesn't take itself too seriously, it could have potential. I mean, it almost looks fucking.
It's a movie. It's an hour and a half long. That much I can tell you from looking it up. Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Looks like a bit of fun.
Yeah. I put
it
down
almost
the next
looks indie to me. Sorry,
it did. And the Film Canada thing. I think that's where I was like, it's not a big Hollywood blockbuster, but and the actors they use, like, they're not like not blockbuster like actors, but they tend to do some of that smaller scale stuff. Like, yeah. The next one, which is Hypnotic, that's due out on May 12th. Which stars Ben Affleck in it. And then William Fichtner, who you may not recognize the name, but you look him up, you'll definitely recognize his face.
100%.
Yeah. And Alice Braga, she's been in a few things of recent that we would have seen as well.
Who's in Predators?
Yeah, that was the one. It's directed by Robert Rodriguez, so we've obviously seen a bunch of stuff we like. And it's Ben Affleck playing a detective, and it's kind of like it's a trippy bank heist kind of feel with I don't know. Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to watch.
I didn't get it didn't blow my mind as something I need to rush out and see. To me, it looks like they took the character Killjoy from the first season of Jessica Jones and built a movie around that concept. The guy bends your mind and makes you do what he wants you to do by hypnotizing you.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely grabbed me more than that Simulant did because, it seemed a bit more original, but yeah. I get what you mean. But it still didn't, I'm not going to rush out and see it. I just thought it was like, it almost, and one of the things I saw was that Ben Affleck's been Gone Girled again because he's searching for his daughter in this. And it's kind of like, Yeah, so that's due out May 12th. Again, couldn't really find information about that. It is a movie more than anything, but where it was, if it was getting released internationally, what streaming service it would be on. But yeah, I mean, it's probably one of those ones that'll be like, quiet rainy night. What do you want to watch? Yeah, I might watch Ben Affleck get his mind fucked. That sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Ben Affleck in the cop role. I think he's kind of made for that. He hasn't really done any. No.
But he's at that right age and he's got that grizzled. He's starting to get that grizzled but still buff look.
Yeah, because every Boston cop film was Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah.
Now but it's Ben Affleck's turn to take over because Ben Affleck started doing more of the crime stuff in Boston. Now he's like turning the leaf. Yeah.
But he's old enough now and he's grizzled enough that he could play the alcoholic cop made good as well.
Make him Max Payne.
Yeah.
Might be a little close to home, but I'm sure it will. He might get through it.
Look, it's a Robert Rodriguez film. He's a good director, so it's got potential. It's R-rated.
It does. We'll see what happens when if it releases here or where it releases. To your eye holes and your ear holes, stay tuned.
I'm still questionable on Robert Rodriguez being a good director, but yes, go on to the next trailer.
Blasphemy.
Controversy. Prince song, everyone. Citadel. Now this looks fun.
Yeah.
April 28th. Yep. Russo brothers are directing. It's got Richard Madden from Game of Thrones and Eternals. Priyanka Chopra Jones, who looked familiar, but couldn't.
But isn't.
But I couldn't place her and see if I'd seen her in anything or not. But she's probably been in a bunch of stuff that Emma's seen that I've like walked past or like half watched.
It's got the Tooch in it.
Does have the Tooch. Yes. He still is on trial, in my opinion. I watched him shake a Negroni in lockdown, and I will never forgive him. That's a cardinal sin. That's a cardinal sin. Yeah.
That's a very, very, very deep cut for people who don't drink. But I guess if you don't drink, you're not listening to this podcast.
Probably you're a fool. No,
there's a few people that don't drink that listen to the podcast. Ben listens.
Oh fuck me! I didn't get enough oxygen when I laughed. Then
no, I don't.
We're getting to that age, folks.
Yep.
If he stands up too quickly, he may fall over.
Yeah.
Look, the Russo brothers are loving their spy category at the moment. Post Avengers, yeah.
Typical Russo brothers spy action, but
they did Winter Soldier, didn't they? Which was a fucking Marvel,
one of the best spy
espionage movies. I mean, it's fantastic.
Blended with Last Kiss Goodnight. I don't know if you guys remember that film.
Yeah.
Fucking brilliant movie, but spy loses their memory. And that's exactly what I got out of that trailer. I'm looking forward to this one. Over the three,
I instantly thought Born Identity more than Last Kiss Goodnight in terms of that thing. But I get where you're coming from. Yeah.
It definitely had that sort of Born Identity feel, the look to
Catching the knife.
The film. Well, the filming and that.
Semi-futuristic as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Got that vibe from it? Yeah.
I got that vibe from it.
Yeah. So it's a 7-episode series coming to Amazon Prime late April. I mean, look, I'll be very busy when it comes out playing Jedi Survivor, but that's my problem, not anyone else's.
I didn't realize it was TV. Actually, I thought it was a movie.
Yeah, that's why I put that in. Yeah, so that's
I didn't read the notes either.
Good job, Pete. That's a 7-episode series. So look, I mean, if it's anything like Richard Madden was in The Bodyguard, he was excellent in that. So I'm excited for him to get some more roles. I quite like him as an actor. But
very distinctive facial features that guy has.
Oh man, you could cut fucking
glass with those cheekbones.
Diamonds on those cheekbones. Yeah.
Yeah. He reminds me of Kit Harington a little bit, but that's probably because of the Game of Thrones thing for me. It was his brother in Game of Thrones. Yeah.
Yes.
But they've got a similar kind of look to them as well.
Yes.
Ish. Cool. And then, Dan, we're resurrecting a point from earlier.
Okay, so we're going to Warhammer 40k Boltgun. Have you guys punched this in and watched?
No.
Go punch it in and watch the trailer on. Just turn the sound off. You don't need the sound. It's a fucking Doom 2016 kind of feel to it, but done in the original Doom pixel art.
Fuck!
It looks.
Sign me the fuck up.
I know it looks fantastic, and I am 100%. So this is Warhammer 40k Boltgun. You're a Space Marine, Pete. You're going to explain this better for me. There's apparently
big man, tiny head.
There's a whole bunch of lore that is going with the game and the story. So they're going to tell a story with it as well. But it's fast paced Twitch pixel. They're called boomer shooters now because they came out back in the day.
We're boomers now.
Well, we're not, but I don't know. They're old, so everybody younger than us classes everything old as a boomer.
I would actually call them boomer shooters because their guns make things go boom, as opposed to like.
Bolt guns have explosive bullets.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about Doom and you think of the way the guns are built compared to like a Call of Duty game, and so like they're all about how quickly can you fire your assault rifle. Where that's like, I shoot a giant green ball of laser energy that makes everyone on the screen explode, and I am a god. You're a 12-year-old child. Suck it.
This looks fantastic.
Yeah, and the animations on the guns, and it's even down to the animations on they're all sprites, 2D sprites. So no matter what direction you are around the dead bodies or the enemies you're up against, they all still face the same way, exactly as they did in the original Doom.
I love that the trailer has a floppy disk. He pulls a floppy disk out. I'm probably watching a different trailer to you, so I watched the official reveal trailer, and it's over half of the trailer is him pulling the miniatures out of an old cardboard box, and he finds a floppy disk. And then flips to the game. I didn't
see that one. Yeah, I just saw the gameplay trailer. I just think it looks super fun.
It looks fun.
Yeah.
I just think it's not lazy, but it feels lazy in this day and age to be making a game that looks that good in pixel art, and it just feels like they're not like just put some like. I don't like pixel art. I don't think pixel art's the greatest things ever. I know people revere pixel art, and I think they're people that probably need to see a psychiatrist and really question their life.
It's nostalgic, man.
This
isn't even
that.
This is 16-bit. It's designed to look 16-bit. It is 16-bit.
I mean that turns me off.
It's funny because
if it had an option where it was like updated graphics, like I would get into that, but I think it's a lazy step back just for pure nostalgia. I've never been around it. Yeah, I don't like it when they put pixelated like versions of games into a game where you can like do it as a graphics mode. I'm not about it.
I think the small age gap between you and us is probably very prominently displayed here. Because we played the original Doom and Wolfenstein in 16-bit.
Yeah, I played those too, thank you.
But you had choice.
No, let me finish. I didn't. Not on my computer. Yeah.
But when those games came out, there were 32-bit games.
Yeah.
When you played those games, there were also 32-bit games out. When we played Doom, it was the only game, it was the only way to play a game. You didn't have any choice. There were no 32-bit games at that stage. This was amazing graphics for our day.
But we saw the evolution we lived the evolution from.
Well, it was actually 8-bit to start. Yeah,
Wolfenstein 3D on the horizontal plane only. And I mean, I know Doom didn't shoot up. It was the last.
So my first computer was the first color Mac, and it had the original Wolfenstein built into it. And I've played that. So I have played the evolution as well, fucking ageist pricks.
I'm not saying we're better than you. It's not truly ageist.
No, but this is the thing. Even with like I'm talking also about like when you redo a game, like I want to see an updated version of it. I don't need that step back. Like I love Ocarina of Time. If you brought out a version of Ocarina of Time today that had the same graphics as the N64, I would be disappointed. I want to see that evolved.
Yeah.
Like there's this guy doing this on YouTube where he's doing it in Unreal 5 and it looks beautiful. I don't agree with everything he's doing in his art style, but it's like it's just his little take on it. and that's great. But if you were to release that again today, I'd be like, it just feels like it's the same thing with the the Star Wars ports that we all played.
I've got to disagree, man. Even the FMV here reminds me of the FMV from Dune 2, the original video game, because it's pixelated FMV.
Oh yeah, you guys can love it as well, but this actually, when you first said it's Doom-esque, I was like, oh, that's cool, and like I have no real connection to like the Warhammer universe, but from knowing Pete, I'm like, it sounds cool. Like I'd definitely get into it. And I'm like looking at it now, I'm just like,
this won't be the game that you get into it.
No,
basically.
Fair
enough.
I can understand the nostalgia aspect to it, and that I'm not saying it's not a style of art that's probably not technical in terms of like doing it. So like lazy is probably the bad word. I just think it's like that game could, it could shine when it feels, from my perspective, of like someone who, like, obviously talking to Pete about how much he loves Warhammer 40K, haven't really seen anything in that. And if I was going to try and step into that, I feel like it's maybe a misstep to get people into that kind of thing. But yeah, that's just my take on it. So yeah,
fair enough.
It's all right. You can be wrong. You can be wrong from now and then, Tom. It's fine.
No, it's every once in a while.
You're fallible. Yeah, it's fine.
I'm not, but it's. I mean, that's
fine. Sign me the fuck up. I'm definitely playing this game.
Yeah, me too. I'm 100% in. I think it looks fun as hell.
Yeah. It's coming out on everything too.
Yeah.
PC, Xbox, Switch, all the PlayStations. Yeah. Sweet.
Yeah.
Cool. I think we should probably... I'm not ready to review my fourth beer. I'm still halfway through this one.
Yeah, I'm still halfway through mine too.
Do we want to kick off the spotlight and then take a break and halfway through the spotlight to talk about a fourth beer?
Sure.
Yes.
We can do that. So I guess I'm introducing this. Seems it came out of my brain. So this all spawned from... so what we're going to do is we're going to talk about directors that would take franchises in new directions. And this all came from my now eventual read of the Frank Herbert Dune series. I just read God Emperor of Dune, which is the first one that isn't a Paul Atreides focused story. So it's 3,500 years past the Paul era, with his son Duke Leto, Leto II. He's the God Emperor, and it is Paul's son. And there's things that happen within the story to make Leto able to survive 3,500 years past
his expiration date.
Yeah, the time of Moadip, the Paul story. And it got me thinking the weirdness that occurs in the book and we've talked about the God Emperor, how he's man and sandworm combined kind of thing. And he looks weird and everything like that. And it got me thinking about, did I want to see this in Denis Villeneuve's style? Because there's a few weird, funky things that happen in the book. Or did I want to see it in another director's style? So Denis Villeneuve's obviously separating Dune, the singular book, into two movies. And who knows whether he's going to get to Dune Messiah and Children of Dune. And by that stage, we might be at 5 movies and everybody might be completely burnt out on it. But I think if he told that Paul story, that would be enough to see it in his style. And a 3,500-year jump in the future would be a good opportunity to see another director.
Style.
Yeah, to reset the style, change it up so they're part of the same world, but very, very visually different. Because you've got somebody else behind or in control of the wheel. And the first person that directly came to my head when the book was describing Leto's body and the grossness was Neill Blomkamp. I love Neill Blomkamp's movies. I know people have their issues with Elysium, but I love his dirty, funky... I thought it was great. I thought it was great too. It's the Matt Damon one. Yeah.
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon, Jodie Foster. The elites live on a halo above the earth.
On a halo. Yeah, I was just going to say, it's a fucking halo.
It's a halo, yeah. But it...
Don't sing the Halo theme. Don't sing the Halo theme. Don't sing the Halo theme.
It really got me thinking that, his District 9, his dirty, gritty, gross. The way you described the God Emperor,
that's exactly what I was thinking of. I was thinking of the bugs from District 9.
Yeah, and even the way he creates.
And Chappie
weapons.
Was very similar.
And Chappie was, yeah. They're all in that same dirty, gritty, very, very the world feels bolted together almost. Like
It
all
is-
their weapons
yeah.
and everything is all bolted together and made
And
from
it is
scrap.
primarily filmed in like it does. I know District 9 specifically was set in South Africa, but all these movies have kind of continued that. That I'm hesitant to say South African look and feel because I've never been there and I don't know if it's a true representation.
Or
But
just a trope.
yeah, but it
Isn't-
kind of feels that way because he set that tone.
Isn't he
Yeah.
South African?
He is.
I believe he is. Yeah.
And so is the guy that played Vickers. And just that whole District 9 feel
Yeah,
got me
100%,
thinking
yeah,
that we could. It's far enough away from Villeneuve's very lens flary color and like the way
slow-mo
he uses
dust
the camera.
scenes that went on for like 17 hours that we had to sit through. Yeah, those ones.
And the big wide shot. God Emperor is actually quite a contained story. It follows Leto, and pretty much every chapter has the God Emperor in it. There's only a few little side chapters that has Duncan Idaho in it, and which would be a really good pull through if Jason Momoa was still playing Duncan Idaho by the time it got to the end of the series, because he comes all the way through to the God Emperor story,
right?
And that'd be a good pull through for another director to take the same character through and show it in a different light. But it's a much more contained story in tunnels and hallways and palaces and things like that, rather than out on the actual plains of Dune. There is a little bit of that, but nothing like the original books.
You know who else I think would be interesting to do what you're describing would be David Twohy, who did Riddick, all of the Riddick films.
Yeah.
Because he has that kind of, I know it's quite different to what you're describing in terms of the grittiness, but he does have a offbeat future style to his work that I think would suit the story you're describing.
Man, I love the Necromunda. What were they?
I think they were Necromunders.
Yeah. Necromunda is
why?
Warhammer.
Carl Urban was there.
Carl Urban in his greasy black
eyeshadow.
mullet. His greasy black mullet. Yeah, definitely. It's that weird set design and kind of take.
Yeah, it doesn't quite evoke Geiger, but it gets pretty close.
Yeah, a little bit. And you know what? Obviously, God Emperor was written before Geiger, but you do kind of get that feel when he talks about how Leto's body looks.
Yeah, okay.
You do get that Geiger-esque. And
I would like to read the Dune series, but I've got so many books that are on my list.
Yeah. I mean, I just
hard.
went down a rabbit hole. Once I reread the first Dune, I went down a rabbit hole and hit Messiah and Children, and then went on to God Emperor. So I'm finishing the Herbert series. So yeah, that was my first one for Neil Blanc.
Curveball, just to throw it out there, just to make it a bit 90s campy, over the top. But what if we got Paul Verhoeven, who was the director of Starship Troopers, to do?
Ooh,
yeah.
So yeah,
you can't. I don't know that you could.
If you wanted a really different
seriously.
film,
Yeah,
like,
but
it'd be campy. You'd have to walk in knowing, like, it'd be
June
such.
isn't. June's not a kind of a jokey universe, though. It's
I know,
very
but
real.
There's so many things that could be sort of slotted into that that sort of Starship Troopers.
Such a brilliant fucking spotlight, man. We could spend days on this spotlight.
Yeah. Well, my two next two ones were.
I actually struggle with this.
No, there's a break. I put the before, so you're further down as well.
My two next ones were Star Wars ones as well. And I mean, I know Tom just criticized his blowy, spicy sand slow-mo parts, but I just imagine giving Villeneuve an Old Republic Star Wars movie.
Nope.
Oh, come on, man.
Nope.
He would kill an Old Republic one.
But, just to break my heart to know that there's a Star Wars movie out there that my home theater wasn't good enough to play.
See, mine wasn't even that. Mine was just keep that French fuck away from it. Like,
but you guys have seen Blade Runner 2049, haven't you?
Yeah. I just love that there's genuine hate for that director in this show.
So it's 1/3 love, 2/3 hate.
Yeah.
I
mean, he did. I loved June was brilliant, right? I'm so glad that it's been rebooted because it has benefited from a reboot where so many things haven't. So I'm glad.
I agree with that statement. I wasn't blown away by it. And when Pete and I you went to see it with me, and I was just like, yeah, okay. You can't fault some of his shots.
My third watch through was a better experience than my first and second.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know if that's that's part criticism, part kind of positive, I guess.
Yeah.
But
see, I was thinking I'd rather try and insert one of my testicles into the top of this can than watch that movie 2 more times. Yeah. Like it was a spectacle to watch, and I can't fault him for that. He does have some brilliant director vision. It's just there was so much of it. It was just there's so much of it felt like filler. I know it wasn't necessarily filler, but it felt like it really could have got a good like half an hour chunk taken out.
It is. Yeah. It is. I guess
there was so much taken out.
Yeah, because I was going to say. Have you read the books?
Stuff back in and get rid of all those silly slow-mo shots that took up half an hour.
No, so have you read the books?
No,
Tom?
No.
I've read the first book and only the first book, and so what I connected with is, and the original movie was very similar. Dune is a slow, considered story. It's complicated. It's intricate. There's a lot of political intrigue in it.
I get that.
But it's also a story that's told in a very deliberate way. So almost like listening to an ant tell you a story. And I think Villeneuve captured that slow deliberateness in the way that he shot the film. And that would feel like
I can 100%, and that's why I do say it was brilliantly shot, and I can understand it. But it was just like, I think of all, I guess
it's almost ponderous.
Which has its merits, and there's no taking that away from him. But I think the thing that I'm probably, for me, more focusing on is someone who hasn't read it, and that is my undoing and my fault.
Oh no!
But I also think of like how many people would have gone to see it that have never even fucking heard of it and just went in because they like Timothée Chalamet or they like half the cast in it and stuff, and they want to go see Oscar Isaac with his big daddy beard.
Keep wanting to say Zendaya, but that's not her name.
Zendaya.
Yeah,
Zendaya.
Is that her name?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I watched her in The Greatest Showman.
and just see the film that they're in because they like those actors and stuff. And I just think it's like and I think I'm coming from that in like
Blade Runner.
You got to respect the source material, and I'm 100%. And my thoughts on the end of like the Return of the King.
We're getting bogged down on June here when it's not part of the spotlight, but sure.
No, it is. It is part of the spotlight, but it's like it's because we're thinking about alternate directors coming in and taking this on.
I'm talking about Star Wars. Yeah, Villeneuve and Star Wars. So I get. Yeah.
We've gone back. We've backflipped now.
To me, it reminded, like, it evoked very much his style. Because let's keep it on topic, right? So Villeneuve's style, this was considered ponderous. It reminded me of the original Blade Runner. It's a slowly unfolding story. It wasn't, and maybe we've been spoiled by. And I believe that we're spoiled by current Hollywood action films where it's all pre-chewed, mashed up, and spat out in a very easily digestible way and no longer requires any form of IQ to consume as a product. I think
which has its benefits and its downfalls because
capitalism is the primary benefit.
Well, also just I don't have a lot of time in my life anymore with work and with everything else going on to have a slow burn thing. Sometimes I just want to be entertained. And
yet you'll still go and see a movie that's just as long in terms of minutes spent. It's still a 3-hour film, whether you're going to see the next Guardians of the Galaxy or Dune. It's just one requires you to engage brain to appreciate. Well, and I that sounded condescending, and it wasn't actually intended to.
No, it's also wrong because I don't think the next Guardian of the Galaxy is 3 hours long. But yeah. Look it up. But
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. But the point I still think the point's valid in the sense that I think storytelling has evolved.
But also, we've talked about before that we have to commit to going to the cinema to watch a film these days.
We do,
like, it's a
we do, and so we're very
selective
selective about it. Yeah,
and I think that's just the thing. Like I know that I wouldn't have walked out because I don't like walking out of things. Like I talk about it, I don't pour out beers. I just finish them. If I don't like it, it's like fuck it. I'm here
2.5 hours for Guardians 3.
Wow, that is surprising. But yeah, I just if you're talking about there's so much more story, that's what I could have used rather than those repeated. Like we're talking about that, it's a specific thing, but repeated scenes. Like if there's story we're missing, it's like that could have, you know what I mean? Like hearing that from you guys, it's like, well, fuck, why didn't we put that in rather than having that same repeated sandy, sparkly walk moment? Like,
I do. You know what? I don't disagree with that. But I mean, that was a through
It's a
point.
very specific.
Yeah, it was a through. I get
this,
that. Yeah.
This can be a conversation for elsewhere. But I still think Villeneuve, if you gave Villeneuve a Old Republic story and had it a political intrigue Dune-esque kind of thing, I think it'd be great. I mean,
he's got a really. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, man.
Knights of the Old Republic, where you've got the
Darth Malgus, and
you give him something like that and have it a very not such a popcorny flick. Have it as a thoughtful journey from a dark point of view with other things happening in the universe.
If he was going to take it, if you wanted to take a dark point of view, he needs to do the same thing they did in the campaign of Battlefront 2, the original Battlefront 2, where it was all told from Tamara Morrison's point of view as one of the clone troopers, and where they're like, we knew we were about to go down a dark path. We knew we were about to ruin the Republic. And it kind of, I mean, the story line aside, it kind of like goes that they knew that Order 66 was coming, but it was more they talk about like there's a sense of foreboding that like Palpatine was getting too strong and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, yeah, sure. Like if you think he's the guy to do that kind of story, but you need, maybe that central point of view and like. Are we getting,
so when we're talking about Villeneuve's work, are we getting a little too caught up on his latest work, which is Dune? Because he's done some, he's really only done 5 or 6 movies that we would have seen in Hollywood. And before that, it seems like he was focused primarily on French-Canadian indie shit. But he did Blade Runner 2049. He did The Arrival, which is a very different kind of science fiction. It's
slow and thoughtful. And
he did Sicario. And Sicario is a very different movie.
And Prisoners.
Yes, and Prisoners. I'm not saying that's his entire body of work, because there's other stuff that jumps out as well, like Maelstrom that I've seen. But we're kind of focused very much on the way that he shot Dune. Sicario is a very different style of movie.
But it's still slow and thoughtful as well. There's points of action, but he's
a guy that likes to engage brain.
Yeah.
In his
I think that would be beneficial. I think that is something that Star Wars is enormously missing these days. It's far too, and I know this was George's original, does it call him George like I fucking know him? Original
you don't?
Original theory on it was to make it to sell toys, or it evolved into that for him. But I think we're past that now, and I think something nice and slow and thoughtful that was a bigger story. Well, maybe not a bigger story, but a more focused story, and not something that just has bloat in it for the sake of bloat.
I know this is bending the spotlight topic a little bit, but I'd love to see George R.R. Martin write a Star Wars political intrigue set in the Old Republic in a way that only he has done recently, right?
And Old Republic is where something that needs to be. Like we need to get away from this Skywalker era.
Yes, we do.
And we at the moment, I don't think people are ready to go forward. They still need something familiar, so I think we need to go back. And my next one is a Star Wars one too. And
while you do that, I'm going to grab my 4th beer, so I'll be right back.
I think this is what they should have done from the very beginning, is just hook Tamara Morrison up with Tarantino and let him do a Fett. Let him... No?
No. I'm chewing on that. Oh, that's like a bit of gristle in your steak. Ooh.
Come on. You don't tell me you don't want to see Fett Pulp Fiction or Fett Reservoir Dogs?
Yeah.
But it was a heist movie.
Fett Reservoir Dogs. Yeah, Fett Reservoir Dogs I can do. Yep.
A heist movie or a high-stakes bounty.
Yes. A heist movie, yes.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, so a high-stakes bounty or a heist movie or something like that. Just
Which
give
is like
him-
early War of the Bounty Hunters comic.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah,
I could
give
definitely
him,
see that, yeah.
give him something like that. Give Fett some dialogue. Seems the man only got something like 9 lines in the whole original trilogy. And he got fuck all lines
Actually,
in his
even
own
better,
TV series.
not early Tarantino. I'm warming up to this idea. It's hitting the subcockles of my heart. That is definitely more like a Hateful Eight.
Yeah. Hateful Eight. Yep.
Hateful Eight works really well. Yeah,
Set it in a single fucking room.
exactly. Yeah.
Star Wars.
Set in a cantina.
Yep. Just do it in a cantina. Just Fett and a whole bunch of other dudes with one bounty between them, and have them argue.
So, you know what? You could even start that with them swapping stories and doing flashback stories.
Like the Hateful Eight did when Kurt Russell picks up Samuel L. Jackson, and they go on, and
it's part brag, part bullshit, part reality.
Yeah.
That's a movie right there.
Have Fett like you throw the originals in there, throw Fett in there, throw Bosk in there, throw
let the lizard man slither a few words in. Sure.
Dengar,
fucking Wookiee hating motherfucker.
Let him get some of their
Forlom and what's his name? Insect Man. Yep.
The one that can slightly see the future. Yep.
And then get what's his name, Valance in. I think Valance would be a really good addition to that because he's really come through in the comics. Yeah,
definitely, and he seems to be
okay.
like the
All
Kurt
right,
Russell
I'll give you that
character.
one. I'll give you that one.
We'll win on that one. Yeah,
I wouldn't say. Yeah. You win. Okay. Full points.
Shall we jump into fourth beer?
Yep.
Sorry to move us forward. Are we ready to move forward?
I am. Yep.
Definitely. I tend to play timekeeper, and I hate myself when I do the editing. What, Tom?
He's on.
I was just pouring. Oh. Sorry,
you dipshit. Who's going first?
I got my Exit Milk Stout here.
There we go. Let's do that. Let's do a tribute to Exit.
The last hurrah for Exit. I'm going to do the whole Tom thing here now too. Exit Milk Stout. They say on the can, I read this earlier, cocoa, vanilla, toffee, and espresso.
Is it cocoa or cocoa? Not taking a piss there, but they are different. Yeah, cocoa. So it's going to have that kind of bitter edge to it.
And it definitely does. It definitely has that dry...
Oh, I was thinking of Kokomo, sorry. Brain flashback. Down the Florida Keys, you know.
Cocktail days.
Yeah.
It has that... everything they've written there definitely has. It has that that slight bitterness to it.
Consistently been a cracking milk stout for years. Like I could never fault the Exit Milk Stout. I really liked it,
and it's not overly sweet.
You probably could have, but I couldn't. Yeah, I always really enjoyed
it. It's not over the top sweet, so it's the lactose addition is reined in, and it's got nice coffee and chocolatey characters to it. It's really pleasant. I was tempted to drink this one first because it was in the news. I'm very glad I left it to the end.
Yeah, that is a nice ending beer.
Yeah,
I'm going to give that
always go for darks last.
4.25.
Okay. You know what I like about milk stouts typically, and particularly this one, just looking at the ABV, is it's a nice way to drink a stout that's not going to like get you pissed.
I would imagine
it's only 5.2.
I was going to say high fours.
Yeah,
but yeah.
The general brewing in Australia, they love to make it's either here's your low ABV stout, which is going to be nice and entry level and 4.5 to 5%.
Or here's a 12% double.
Fuck you and everything that you believe in. Get this down your gob and die.
Yeah. I'm drinking a 9.5% pastry stout, so yeah, totally.
Yeah,
but we do the imperial stouts, and all the Brick Lane Brewing stuff is all fucking doubles and triples. So yeah, it's good to see a stout that's in a lower ABV. So you gave that 4.25. Tom, what are you drinking, mate?
Oh well, hello chaps. I'm drinking a Hawker's beer. It's a modern British IPA, and we're having the old chap new tricks, eh? What's he got up his sleeve? Absolutely fantastic, cracking stuff. It says here the British are generally credited as the originators of the IPA, which has since become a multifaceted beast of its own. We've teamed up with UK hop grower Charles Farram to modernize a classic style, generously dosing with the new generation hops Harlequin, Jester, and Earnest. Oh, I love a bit of Earnest. Aromas of tropical fruit, stone fruit, and resin sit on a brightened up malt bill, Marish Otter, and Golden Promise. It's never too late to try new tricks. Whew, well, sorry, I'm back.
That was brilliant, man.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Where are we?
Impressive.
Yep.
I could do that with a
out.
Russian stout, but that's literally the only accent I could hold for that long, believably.
I can do South African, but I won't for that one. Yeah, this is...
What the fuck is an English IPA?
Well, it's a modern English IPA. So I think of an English IPA as being a lot more malt forward. Kind of
malt and spicy hops.
Yeah. This has still got that
Earthy,
spice.
spicy hops.
Yeah, this has still got that spice, but it's definitely got a lot more of that like floral, citrusy, those notes coming through. It's also the if my camera will allow me, it's not as dark as I would imagine that remember an English IPA to be. I also really love this can design. I think it's just that concentric kind of pattern.
Yeah.
I thought it's really cool.
Kind of like Celtic knots, but not quite.
Yeah. It's and they have a rating on the back. They say they've hopped it 5 out of 5, malt 3 out of 5, and yeast 2 out of 5, which may explain why I'm getting so much of those citrusy notes through it. It's definitely not up there with like in terms of like the hop smack to your face. Like even of the pale that I just had from Bracket, it's nothing like that. It's reminiscent in a way, but it's definitely not like that hit. I wouldn't say it's more sessionable. It's more layered. It's layers. It's onions. It's Shrek references. It's good. This is their newest limited release. The label is dead set spot on. There's not a millimeter in that. That is
perfection.
Literally, you could set your watch to that label. That's how close that is. That's a 4.75. That's great. That's fantastic. That's one of the best Hawkers beers I've had in a long time, and I've had most of their limited releases recently.
They're still relatively young, aren't they? There's 2 years old? No?
No, you're thinking of Hawks. This is Hawkers.
I am thinking of Hawks. Sorry.
These are the Melbourne boys.
Mm.
Melbourne boys, yeah.
Yeah.
Marsden and the crew, that crazy motherfucker. This is great. This is so good. If you can find this, grab this. This is fantastic. It's giving me the horn. Let's just say that much. British accent. Yeah.
Cool.
What are you drinking, Pete?
I'm going to move on from that
go
pretty
take
quickly.
a cold shower.
Yeah. Not independent. I do really try hard to only go independent, but it doesn't always happen. So I'm drinking.
I almost had a Stone and Woodby before, like as my last one, but then saving that for personal time.
Fair enough. I am drinking the Pirate Life Choc Chip Hot Cross Bun Pastry Stout.
Well, it is almost Easter, so that adds up. Yeah,
that's specifically why it jumped out. That, and I was looking very much for a dessert stout after the last episode, and fucking one of the most amazing beers I've had in a long time was that
Hokey Pokey.
Fuck me. It was
I've got one can of it left
good.
if you want me to put it aside for you.
Please do. It's so damn good. It's one of my favorites.
Shop. Yes, put that one aside. Thank you.
I'd even be inclined to save it so that I could share it with Dan, because I know Dan hasn't tried it, and I reckon you'd get a real good kick out of it too.
Also,
so this
he
one
loves doing the hokey pokey and turning around. And that's
that is what it's all about. This is the way. Maybe that'll be the cost of Dan, drinking my beer. This beer, on the other hand,
it's not a cost I'm willing to
prepared to pay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you haven't tried the beer. It's so fucking good. This, on the other hand, layered is a word I'm stealing from your description, Tom, because that's precisely what this is. Very layered. You get so it's obviously, it looks like a stout, like every other stout. It's very dark.
It looks like a stout. It tastes like a stout. It must be a stout.
You get a lot of cinnamon, just a touch of sweet spice. I wouldn't call it vanilla.
Are these in order, Peter?
What do you mean?
Like as they hit you, like that?
Yes.
Like,
Yeah. So it hits spice first with and it's a cinnamon plus a sweet spice, and I can't put my finger on which sweet spice.
Yep.
Then you get chocolate chip, and it's funny because you can tell it's chocolate chip as opposed to like a cocoa, which has that kind of strong bitterness.
Yeah.
Almost a coffee-ish note.
Yep.
This is choc chip. It's quite thin.
Mhm.
It's sweet and chocolatey, and then you get a real strong roasty malt backbone, and it that malt carries you all the way through the back palate. So it's interestingly layered. Could I tell you a pastry stout next to a non-pastry stout? Probably not. I'm not sure what to expect out of the differences between those two styles, those sub-styles.
You would.
You would. A pastry stout generally has lactose.
It's definitely got sweetness in it.
Yeah.
So
those milk sugars.
Yeah, I was bringing that back from last episode. But then I had Dark Temptations. Was it? I can't remember what the name of the beer. Something about Temptation last week with the Hokey Pokey Stout, and that was very fucking sweet too. So again, I couldn't differentiate between all the sub-styles of stout. But yeah, no, this is good. It's 9.5% though, so it's definitely a night-ending beer.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to give this a 4.25. It's pretty impressive. I'm not a big fan of hot cross buns either, and the spice is making this an interesting beer. Like it's not. I probably wouldn't drink another one, but I'm glad I drank this one. If that makes sense, it's an experience, but not one I'd go back to.
I'd fucking go back to this beer. Every sip I have, I'm just like, I wasn't sure if I was going to have this one tonight. I'm so fucking glad I did. That is cracking. Yeah,
Pete, you're like a Looney Tunes on one of those little Looney Tunes on my screen that's had too much coffee. The video's lagging.
Okay.
So, and then it tries to catch up by playing the video
really fast.
Yeah. But because there's nothing else moving in the room. So like Tom's got his light. So if it happened to him, like the lights would move quicker, but because you've got a static background, there's no frame of reference.
I'm actually sitting behind a green screen in Alaska right now, and you wouldn't know. That's funny. Shall we continue the spotlight?
Continue.
So we're up to my one. So my director with the Take franchise in new directions was Francis Ford Coppola, Jokerverse. So very, very specifically, the Joaquin Phoenix style ending to the Joker movie, where you had the mob, fucking like the crazed mob, and then doing a Godfather style series of movies, one movie or a series of movies of the gangsters that pop out of, Joker's gangsters versus fucking Penguin's gangsters and that.
So you're thinking more, So you're thinking more of like a Gotham gangster. Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Sorry, when you said him taking on Jokerverse, and it was just like him taking on, because when you said Jokerverse, I obviously assumed you meant Joaquin Phoenix Joker, but him taking on that Joker character, I was like, ooh.
He's the head of a crime family, though. Now.
I but focusing on him kind of in the same way.
No, not necessarily. More just
now you're saying that makes
the
so
intricacy
much more sense.
of the gang wars going on, and told in that very old, like 1920s style, New York gangsters.
Fucking Joe Pesci as Penguin.
Yeah. There's so many great actors that you could pull out like that, and
hits a Hot Wheel on a set of stairs and goes down and smacks his forehead.
But you could also equally, I can't remember the director for the Goodfellas, but he would be equally good in that sense.
That's not Scorsese, is it? No,
I think it might be Scorsese.
Probably.
Yes, it was.
That's all he shoots is gangster films.
It was directed. Yeah, it was Martin Scorsese. You could do either.
Yeah.
Well, Scorsese had a hand in this Joker.
Yeah.
Just like one.
And there's crossover
shot?
between. Yeah. I'm sure there's
just him on this.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's crossover between Coppola and Scorsese.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they
well.
collaborated at some point.
Yeah,
not directly, but worked off each other kind of thing.
But he also did Apocalypse Now, right? So he he's got a pretty. I mean, Francis Ford Coppola did have a range.
Imagine fucking Joe Pesci as Penguin and fucking Ray Liotta as Two-Face.
Yeah.
If it was shot 20 years ago, yeah, okay.
Oh no, but even if you had them as aged characters,
that'd be a good take. Yeah, okay.
I want to see them as heads of crime families with minions that they're ordering around and fucking each other over, and they're also running like business fronts to fucking.
I think that'd be a really good take
cash.
as well. Take as well with using the young Patterson Batman if they were more senior gang, like as if like taking the whole thing of Gotham, like Batman's doesn't exist because he's come in. Like Riddler was young and he was foolish, and he got himself caught. Foolish, that's probably a bad term, but he got himself caught, kind of thing. But it was also like, but then there's these senior heads who are just like, hey, we do things completely old school. And Dark Knight tried to touch on that, and like Batman Begins with like they tried to make the gang, the old school gang families, and it's the new thing coming through. But I think that'd be really interesting, especially with a young Batman versus really old school.
I actually wouldn't have Batman in it. I would do a Godfather 2, like I would set it in
maybe not
Godfather
the first
2
one,
style. So that the main characters like Penguin, like the Joker, they're the Godfather 1 generation, and the show or the film focuses on the son of one of those heads, so that they're in an established crime boss family, and dad is the Joker or dad is probably the Penguin, to be honest.
Yeah.
So you have this established world that they can operate in, but you're still telling a fresh-faced story, and they can make mistakes and fuck up and disrespect another family. Like, there's so much that you could do.
So
in
you
that
want
world.
Gotham Sopranos is what you want.
Fucking A. That's precisely. That's what I want.
That's not a bad thing to want. That's a good thing to want. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a fresh new direction to take that the Batman universe and flesh out the Batman universe without needing a Batman in it.
Yes. But you do need a Batman in it at some stage.
Yeah, I mean, Goodfellas had the cops.
Sorry, Pete, is that not what Gotham, the series, set out to do and maybe hit or missed? But
Gotham, no.
Maybe not old school, but like...
It kind of did to an extent in a very CW style.
Exactly, yeah, in a CW
and it was
style.
I
see what you're saying coming from
rubbery.
A Francis Coppola style, yeah.
Yeah, I want something that's gritty and it's got balls. It's an R-rated fucking. We're gonna Tommy gun down some motherfuckers. The way that we've played video games.
It's my Tommy gun.
It's not Home Alone though. But yeah,
no,
yeah. Cool. Next one was yours. This was a.
Can I just go to that Coppola? How good would have an actress like Susan Sarandon?
You say Boba Fett in fucking
Susan Sarandon been as like Harlequin?
Mm.
Had to Google who Susan Sarandon was.
That's literally what I'm doing, but I recognize it straight away.
You don't know who Susan Sarandon was.
She just has that. She has that ability to be quirky and like off the wall, as well as.
Oh, but
like,
she's
straight laced and.
Yeah, but she's also played too many like heartwarming mother characters, and I don't think I could see her in that. Like, but it'd be such a good flip of. Yeah, I get what you mean. In that, yeah.
And she'd fit into
which is
that
the point
mobster side of things. I mean, Michelle Pfeiffer would have done it well as well, but you just, I mean, you throw her back in as Selena.
Yeah. But the wives of the mob families in Coppola's kind of worlds were always the very beautiful, but also very genteel, older. I don't know how to put this the way that I mean it, but like a traditional woman, but very feminine. So they're not arm candy. They're women in their own right. They've got strong personalities, but they're also very beautiful and very feminine at the same time. I don't know. I probably said that really poorly.
The thing when you say that I'm picturing is Monica Bellucci's character in Matrix 2.
Or Jessica Rabbit.
Yeah.
That's kind of, I know that's a very random reference, but
also not a real character, but not a real live action. But
no, but you kind of get that. But you kind of get that Betty Boop style, 50s pinup girl femininity. But they're also fucking hard asses when they need to be. Which all of the characters, all the female characters in the Coppola series of movies were hard asses.
I can see her face, but there's absolutely no way I could tell you her name or what movie she's been in. But in the 90s, she was the go-to American Italian
actress,
girlfriend, not even wife, like girlfriend. Fuck. I'll think on it when you go to your next one, and I'll find
the
out
next one is brilliant, Tom. Like, it's an inspired fucking pick, I've got to say.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck. I haven't put any homework into this. No, I literally, as I said, I was struggling with this concept. I think it was really cool. And obviously we've been able to talk about it and stuff, but sitting in like the vacuum of my loneliness that I live in, it's a wonderful place. There's so little people. It's great. But yeah, trying to think of directors and the movies they make, and like, because often so many directors make so many different styles of movies. I was pulling up stumps. I was just like, fuck, I can't let the boys down, and that's not what I'm about. So but then I thought, what movies have I really loved recently? And then, yeah, I guess because we kind of all like,
what content have you really loved recently?
Well, yeah, content, movies, but like, and then also how would that apply to an old style? And I came up with Sam Mendes and Indiana Jones, and it purely came from, I fucking loved the one-shot thing from 1917. Imagine applying that to an indie film.
I haven't seen 1917, but
so it's.
I know it's the clever take on the single shot. Yeah.
So, but and it also came from also like we how many times have we sat here and basically like jerked off to the Daredevil one-shot hallway scene of how fucking cool it is. But even like, it doesn't have to be the entire indie film being a one-shot, but able to do those like one-shots in those archaeology scenes. It's probably from like recently playing through a bunch of those like Tomb Raider games and stuff as well. And it's just like, I thought the way he shoots things in that, like, would add such an interesting
very
turn.
Artistic.
Yeah, a really interesting turn on what is traditionally a bit pulpy. And like when we talked about
I find it really interesting.
I
find it really interesting you picked this one after complaining about repeated shots, granted, in Dune, but also slow storytelling, because Sam Mendes tells a slow story. It's a slow, considered story. 1917 was about it reminded me of The Thin Red Line. It was a war movie, but it wasn't really about war. It wasn't glorifying war in the same way that like Saving Private Ryan did. It was the psychological aspects, the slow, boring grinding down of the soul that was
World War I don't think it needs to be a slow boring down the soul, especially if you think, well, I mean, especially the scene I'm referring to for this, and this is what I thought of, especially when referring to indie, is the running through the town. Like,
yeah, I get
shooting shots like that and adding to indie, and that's why I said it doesn't have to be the entire film as a one shot kind of thing. And it's like, but indie, in like any sort of like action blockbuster like Indiana Jones needs those quiet moments to break away from those really big action shots. And like the scene at am I mixing up my war movies? The quiet scene at the farmhouse, that's 1917. Is it? Yeah.
Yes,
cool.
It was.
Cool.
The farmhouse when he shoots when his mate dies.
Yeah. But like,
spoilers.
You don't even know whose mate I'm talking about.
Everyone dies.
Someone died. That's all they literally said then. Someone died. And someone else knew him.
Yeah. It's a squad. Yeah, whatever. But yeah, no, you're right. But even that, like, that still had, like, and it's not like that, the drone shot, like, continually revolving kind of thing, but it's that kind of thing where it's like, even when it's slow,
there was
it kind of still
shots.
felt movement. I think that's the difference I have with Villeneuve, is like, it was static changes, I think, that really threw me off. And like that, and like we said, it's
he was trying to give you a sense of scale. That's why.
I know. But that's also what threw me off compared to Sam Mendes, is like the way Sam Mendes shot is like it didn't necessarily feel like it had to be moving through something, but there was something. Even if it was a slow panning shot, it was adding, like, it's a different side of the farmhouse. It's like, oh fuck, there could be German soldiers there, like, like that kind of thing. So yeah, I don't know. It's just this is literally the only thing that came to me, and it was just like, I think, especially from like, if we got into some like, obviously film, TV, video game archaeology is very spectacle compared to real life archaeology. That is very slow and very painstaking.
Indie even makes reference to that in the first movie.
Yeah. But even like,
most of archaeology
it's that fantasy
done in a
aspect of
library.
it. But like being able to just like go like it's constantly kind of moving, I think would have, I don't know. It's just
it's an interesting idea.
That's what came to
it's
me,
also not the one that I was saying was inspired, so I apologize.
No, that's even
the
better.
order changed.
What's your take?
No. I mean, like the order of in the show notes was around the other way. So JC, which is the next point now in the show notes. I don't know whose idea that was.
Right.
I thought that's what you were about to talk about. Sam Mendes doing Indiana Jones isn't a bad idea. I've just the next one
I'll
really
just go
resonated.
Fuck myself. This has been great.
I haven't seen 1917, but I know enough of it to know that style of filming.
That we won.
Like you do that sort of film. If you were to take that big a risk with a character like Indiana Jones, and for someone to pull off something like that, and to have, you probably couldn't do it with Harrison Ford these days. He probably wouldn't want to be on camera that long. But that could be an inspired movie that would once again reinvigorate a franchise. It's like this trope that we're going to get, and like it's just going to be absolute rubbish. The thing that's going to come out,
it's going to be another like it's meant to be pulpy and like all that kind of like that style.
The last one was rubbish, and this coming one's going to be rubbish. But if you wanted to take a risk, obviously they don't want to take a risk. They'd rather throw money at it and have it fail than take a risk and have it succeed.
Disappointed that Harrison Ford's in it. Like I don't know why, but
Harrison Ford checked out a long time ago, and he's fully admitted he just turns up to take a paycheck. Like you can't blame him for turning up and getting paid these ridiculous money they're going to pay him.
But he doesn't need the money, and his work in the series that he's really in at the moment, which is
the Yellowstone one.
No, he's in a psychology.
Emma started watching that.
Apple. I'm sure that's an Apple Plus.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, she got a trial for Ted Lasso, and then I was like, you realize that a trial lasts a week, and Ted Lasso is episodic, right?
He's doing some really beautiful. What's what I'm looking for?
But that's more like play style acting.
Yes, it is, but him specifically in it, not necessarily the rest of the cast around him and the storyline. But he's very vulnerable in that show. Like I'm amazed at what Harrison's doing in that show.
Yeah. I still reckon if you were to give him even a quarter of the money of what he's getting for the next indie movie and say it's going to be films like 1917, I would hope he would go, you know what? That interests me a lot. I'm 100% in. And you know what? I'm just not going to phone it in. I'm going to come in on the days and do
Shakespearean it out.
And Shakespearean it. And you know what? I don't think it would take much for somebody to sit him down and go, you know what? This could be your magnum opus. Something like this. You do this one last indie movie and nobody will ever bother you for anything ever again.
He's not doing anything after Indy 5. He's come out and said that. He's like, I'm done after this.
So he was Shrinking is the name of the series I was thinking of.
But if he pulled a Michael Caine in Muppets Christmas Carol in Indie Dial of Destiny, I would If no one gets that reference, they went to Michael Caine and said, hey man, it's a Muppets film about the Muppet, like the Christmas Carol. Just play it casual. And he said, I'm going to play it the most serious way I can. And it is one of his best roles.
It was, you know what? The Muppet Christmas Carol was a fucking great movie. So
I watch it every year.
I'm there for that.
I'm pretty sure it's on Disney Plus.
Yeah, it is. Because
it would be.
Yeah, they own it. Yeah. Disney now owns the Muppets.
Yep.
It's our Christmas Day tradition. We watch Muppet Christmas Carol.
Shall we move on to the next one? I'm just conscious of time. We're gonna have to get through Are You Winning, Son in a short amount of time per person.
Mine's real short.
We typically spend 15 minutes per person on Are You Winning, Son?
Yeah, because it's the best bit of the entire episode.
We don't have another 45 minutes in this episode. I got to go to bed.
I don't.
The Days Gone one. Whose was that? Was that yours, Dan?
That wasn't me. No,
Not
it must
me.
have been Tom. Must have been yours.
Why the fuck would I rate James Cameron?
I literally
have
don't
been
know
you,
where that
Pete.
came from. It might have been me. I don't remember writing
you were
it.
You were talking yourself up before then.
Yeah, like
This
I
is
feel like a
brilliant
right ass
idea.
now. I don't think that
I've
was
spent
me.
the last 3 episodes talking about how James Cameron's a bit of a washed up dick. And
He is definitely a washed up dick, but so what
washed
inspired
up on
me?
the
Maybe
shores of Avatar. Oh, right.
maybe it was me then.
I
But
think this probably was you. Yeah.
the Terminator
It
2
definitely wasn't me.
The Terminator
There it
2
is.
James
Yep.
Cameron
Terminator,
driving through like Mexico towards the end of that movie in a Days Gone kind of world of zombies, I actually think would be really interesting to watch.
James Cameron hasn't done a zombie film, has he?
No, he hasn't. But the T2 style
could argue
post-apocalypse.
Yeah. T2s is zombies kind of thing. Yeah. Okay.
I wasn't arguing that, but I think
No, I'm not.
I think shooting a Days Gone movie, like a zombie movie, with that real yellow muted palette,
brown.
yeah, in his shots, I think would work.
I mean, it worked for the game. Like that game, that's one of the few games that needed a grey brown
muted palette,
slate grey, slightly blue grey palette. Yeah,
yeah. But James Cameron, I keep thinking at like
Lots
the
of
ending, the ending shot of Terminator 2, where Sarah Connor's in the desert,
in the Jeep,
carving the fate
T2, yeah,
T2, carving no fate into the park bench. That shot was very yellow tinted Mexican desert I don't know, Nevada desert in the background. It might not have been Mexico.
Well, the whole thing is she's crossing the border, isn't she? Like that's the whole thing. Yeah,
she's driving south. Yeah, I just think that would be a brilliant background, kind of stylistically, for Days Gone.
And he does the action well. And if anybody's going to be able to create realistic close-up hordes of zombies digitally, it's going to be James Cameron. World War Z did it from a distance.
Yeah,
need to do them up close now.
Yeah. And make them scary.
Yeah, if you watch World War Z with one eye closed, they just look like moving slugs. They're just blobs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just a mass with particulate. Like different shape particulate on the outside.
The last one I'll race through was Guy Ritchie doing a Doctor Who series.
So it's really funny you say this, Pete, because there's a guy that Emma's been repeatedly sending me on social medias. He's a Instagram reel TikTok dude, but he's been doing Harry Potter as Guy Ritchie films, and it fucking works.
Okay,
like it's just, but he's just got the way he does it is he just does obviously the Cockney accents and all that kind of stuff from like Snatch, but then he's just got the background like doom boom 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 just playing on loop in the background where he cuts to each character, and I'm like, fuck, Guy Ritchie could do like a weird gangster wizard film, like if he really wanted to.
But so when I say Guy Ritchie, I'm not referring to the Lock, Stock style Guy Ritchie film. I'm referring to the Sherlock Holmes style, where and that plays through a lot of his more recent ones as well.
To it, though.
Yeah. Yes, but Doctor Who is that superior intellect in the same way that Sherlock Holmes is. So the way that Guy Ritchie tells you a story is he's got that big magic reveal at the end where what you saw isn't what happened, and now here's the big reveal, and that suits Doctor Who perfectly.
Also, he's got the 17 different shots of like cranks moving slowly as things move, and then like also I can just picture now David Tennant's Doctor in the pit fight going like
the pit fight was exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, just analyze the exact But I just think it's almost
that would
too
really
much
work.
low hanging fruit. But because Doctor Who is Sherlock Holmes in the sense that he's a superior intellect, he's figured out he's always 10 steps ahead of everyone else. But to me, that is the Tennant Doctor Who, not necessarily the stuff more recently where it's just a bumbling fool. That's since Peter Capaldi, it's just it's very different. But yeah, I thought that would be an interesting way to breathe new life. Or old life, really. Back
even better.
Doctor Who.
Oh, Pete, even better. It's Guy Ritchie shooting a film, but it's all the doctors at once doing a heist.
to time
Now, that
crossover.
that I would pay to see.
It's a time
It's a
heist.
paradox.
Yeah.
But still with that same do boom boom boom.
But then you could do that as an Ocean's 11. Can you imagine 11 fucking doctors doing a fucking heist in a casino?
Especially if it was up to 11. Like, that's when you cut it off. Yeah.
Is it Monty Python's? Is it Monty Python sketch, or what is it where they walk in, they go, Doctor.
Yeah, that's Monty
Doctor.
Python. Yeah.
It is Monty Python.
I was going to say it was only ever going to be Monty Python or Mel Brooks.
No, it was also replicated in Leonardo DiCaprio, Tom Hanks. What's that film where Leo plays the
Catch Me If You Can.
Catch Me If You Can? Yes, Leo walks into the operating theatre. Doctor. Yeah, but I think they were ripping off a Monty Python scene.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't what I
The
saw.
one that you're referring to. I'm ready to move on. I think that was a brilliant spotlight, though.
Yeah, that was good.
If you, it
I
wouldn't
struggle
take
with
much.
it, but
Yeah, but here's the thing, Tom. I actually think if we got around a table and had some beers, you would come up with 10 more amazing ideas too, because it's such an interesting topic for people like us.
Oh, that's the thing. The whole thing
Where we've seen so
we just came off
much.
each other. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
think
Peter,
it's a
are
great
you
spotlight.
winning, son?
I am. I'm utterly engrossed in The Last of Us 2. Won't. I know it's an old story, but Dan hasn't played it.
It's not an old story.
Go for it. Knock it
Is
out
it-
of the park.
Are we ready to spoil it?
2021.
I mean, a couple of years old. Are we okay to spoil it?
I actually don't think so, given what we've talked about in the season 2 of the series, which a lot of people haven't played.
Which is actually why I want to spoil it. It's
you're a dick.
No. I just think it's an interestingly told video game story. There's some nice twists and turns in it. There's a very early twist in it that I think most people are already aware of anyway, but I won't spoil it, that will break audiences of the TV show. But that specifically is not what I'm talking about.
Which we've talked about. Yeah.
What I'm referring to is The Last of Us Part 2 is told in two halves. It's two separate parallel storylines that come together at the end. Now, I'm not at the end. I've finished the first plot and it pauses at a certain point, and now I'm about halfway through the parallel plot, which I know will get to the same point, and then we'll get some sort of closure. And I'm not sure which direction it's going in. That's what, not closure, Tom, because there is potentially a part 3, and I know the writer well enough to know that he's not going to wrap all the loose ends up.
No.
But I am also aware of the writer's ability to surprise me with which direction he might fall in. So I have no preconception about how the story's going to end.
Interesting.
So I don't know who's going to survive the final encounter, but I know who's going to be there. So my point was more knowing that season 2 and 3 of the TV show will cover the second game, and knowing that the game is essentially split in half and only following one character and then a second character, it's going to be interesting to see if the TV show. I know there's crossovers, but and there's flashbacks and a bunch of other stuff. But it's going to be interesting to see if so Ellie is one of the two characters, obviously, in the second game. And then I'm not going to say who the second character is. But it's going to be interesting. It's Grogu. So it's going to be interesting to see whether or not season 2 of the TV show will follow the Ellie story exclusively, and then season 3 will follow the other character's story exclusively, and then we get the wrap at the end. Or if they will recut it so that you're telling the episode by episode.
We've obviously spoken about, and I'm of the view that I think the smartest way to do it would be to recut it.
But it's fucking complicated to do it that way. And Dan,
they've got time and a medium to do that, I guess.
So Dan, I'm speaking cryptically, but I want to make sure that I'm speaking cryptically, but still making some kind of sense. Because Tom knows what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
Okay. Am I making sense to the listeners? In terms of, okay.
Well, I mean,
I'm a little drunk.
Whenever are you making sense to the listeners? That's the bigger
yeah.
question that we need to ask. Yeah.
So you're winning. You're enjoying it, obviously.
Yeah, and I was the one bitching about 15 minutes per person. I am fucking winning. I'm loving the story. Yeah. And there is nothing better than playing a video game set in a rainy, thunderous background on a Sunday morning when it's pissing down rain and thundering in the background. Like I just nailed it Sunday morning.
See, I used to love, like, especially when Skyrim came out. One of my favorite things to be, people would be like, "Oh, it's fucking raining." Especially, it's the early days of Facebook when Skyrim first came out, because yes, we're old. But people would be like, "Oh my god, it's such rainy weather. This sucks. Like, fuck this." And I'd be like, "It's a lovely day in Tamriel, where I am." And that's like, I can change the weather if I want it.
But this was the opposite.
Sunshine and cold
This was
winds.
the video game perfectly matched the real world
it is.
weather, to the point where I'd hear thunder and I had the speakers turned right up, and I couldn't tell you if it was going on in the real world.
You're not
or
playing with your
in the
3D
game.
audio headphones?
No. I'm playing with my surround sound. It's the same thing.
Man, yeah, I don't know. The headphones just added a different element for me.
But my surround sound is set up, and it's not because it's special. It's just it's set up in a way that there are frequently times in movies and games where someone knocks on a door, and I literally think someone's knocking on my actual door because it comes from the same direction.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, yeah, I'm winning. Dan, are you winning, son?
Yeah, kinda. I went back to Doom Eternal because I had an itch. I had an itch to go back to. Well, I started Doom 2016 again. I'm like, no, you've played this one through. Just suck it up and go back and try and finish off Doom Eternal. And I loaded it up, and I couldn't remember anything that had taught me in the last like 3 hours or 4 hours that I'd played in it. So I had to go to wuss mode.
Oh. You're a wuss.
And knowing Doom, it's actually called wuss difficulty. I'm presuming.
I think it's
it's something. Am I ready, Daddy? Or
that's carried on from the original games. I'm certain
it is. Yeah, it is. It definitely.
It's an ID software. Runs a joke,
it's almost inappropriate in this day and age to say that.
No, it's shit. What is it called? One of you guys can Google it while I'm talking about this. The difficulty names of the Doom.
Yeah, I got it.
Hurt Me Plenty is the normal, and then there's the
I'm
one
too young
before
to die.
I'm too young to die. Yeah. So I had to go to wuss mode. Let's just call it wuss mode. Because there was, like I said in my first original review, there's way too much shit going on in that game. Like there's too many weapons and too many bits and pieces that go on that it's just it made it unenjoyable coming straight off 2016 Doom, which was just a straightforward, beautiful, fun game. And it had some bits and pieces to it, but it was no more than grenades and one or two others. But now you've got double jumps and dashes and grappling hooks and fucking flamethrowers that drop armor when they're on fire, and you've got fucking grenade, like a separate grenade launcher that has recharge times, and then you've got runes that are you could, but there's extra stuff that goes along with it now, and it was too much not having played through, wanting to play through the tutorial.
It's kind of one of those things you have to go back and replay.
So I just put it on wuss mode until I could work it all out, and I played about 2 or 3 hours on wuss mode, and then it got to a point where it goes, like, a thing popped up on the screen saying, "Oh, we've now taught you everything you need to know to go forward in Doom." And I'm like, "Fuck! Did I just finish the tutorial?"
Oh no!
Yeah, look, we've all been there, Dan. We've all been there. You're engrossed in a movie, or you're engrossed in a TV show. 25 minutes have passed, and then the fucking credits roll at the start.
Yeah,
the opening sequence rolls.
Exactly.
What I'm trying to say.
So I mean, it was fun. It's you know what? I probably will just play this through on wuss mode, because I'm still in that mode. I'm still not enjoying it as much as I did 2016. So I'm not prepared to get my butt handed to me, and go back and repeat things and learn to go through. I kind of just want to play it to look at the pretty visuals and kill some demons and see some glory
and just have some
glory
fun
kills.
Almost.
Yeah, that's exactly what I want to do.
That's the thing I do with the Doom
that's
game.
That's what Doom's about.
Yeah, when I played Doom 2016, I never played it. Like, the first time I played it, because I played it 3 times. The first time I played it, it was definitely on easy mode. And it was just like, I'm going to go in and just kill some shit. Like, this is what Doom is about. Then I went back and did it, and then I was like, oh shit, I need to play it on nightmare mode. And I did that nightmare playthrough, and I would not have I got through the first level. I could not have kept that up. That was so stressful. Yeah.
Do you have to play Ultra Nightmare? No, you said you only have to play one level.
You have to go
of
the
Ultra
first
Nightmare.
mission, and you can cheese it, but I did not, and I went to the full way, and I was so proud of myself. But
we featured the video. We featured some of your video.
No, I don't think you understand the sweat that was on my controller after finishing that mission. Like, it was insane. The amount of times I played that, but that is a crowning achievement of my PlayStation career. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's sweat inducing, and
Also, the soundtrack's just so good.
Actually, I wasn't enormously fussed on the Doom Eternal soundtrack for when I first started playing it, but I actually worked out, because I thought the guns weren't anywhere near as chunky as what they were in 2016, and then I actually found I had a soundboard issue on my PC. So I sorted that out, and this
race coming up again.
This now playing the few hours I've played now, it's the sound and music is as chunky and as good as the first game. I don't like some of the choices they made aesthetically with the game, and it's just
they made it a bit too I haven't played it, but I've known enough of the story through seeing gameplay videos and whatever, people referencing and stuff. It's become a bit suddenly Doom Guy's the hero. Yeah, fuck that. He's just a dude who's just there to just run through and cause chaos. Yeah,
he's got a space station.
Don't give him a hero's journey.
Yeah, he's got a space station that overlooks the planet Earth, and where the next demon portal comes up, he teleports down to save the planet. That wasn't where it was going. He was a knight. He was an
Halo
old school
theme playing in my earphones right now.
So in 2016, he was definitely a resurrected knight of the Slayer category, but to take it to that,
he was just put on the ground and sent through.
And he just
literally almost a literal path.
Yeah. So the biggest thing, in 2016, he's such a dick. You get to the weapon upgrades, and he rip the box off the bottom of the robot, and sometimes he even punches the robot.
I exclusively tried to make him do that. Yeah.
Yeah. So in Doom Eternal, there's none of that. He's not a dick at all. He's those robots just leave there, just stay there. In 2016,
walks up and goes, boop, boop, give me your treat.
He'd crush things when you got those cores in 2016.
Yeah, the hell cores, yeah.
And that beautiful
definitely
sound.
At some point, he would have
crunch.
grabbed Samuel Hayden by his fucking nads and just crushed him in his thing. Just been like, fuck you stupid shit. Why did you open the Mars Hell portal? Yeah.
Yeah, so I will finish it on wuss mode, but that's as far as I'll go with that one, and then I'll go back to 2016. So yes, I'm winning.
If you go back to 2016, and this is my pro tip to anyone, if you ever wanted to experience Doom in its finest form, jump back into 2016 because the multiplayer is alive and well. And jump into that. It was some of the most fun I had.
You've mentioned that a couple of times, actually.
Yeah, get right into it.
So. I'm going to quickly duck away and take a leak while, Tom, are you winning, son? And you talk about Far Cry 5 for the third episode in a row.
Cool. It's not like you've talked about Assassin's Creed for fucking 7 years, you fucking piece of shit. I love you, Pete. Yes. No, I finished Far Cry Assassin's Creed 5. Fuck that. Fuck you. And it's Ubisoft, so it's basically the same thing.
Yeah, basically the same.
Far Cry 5 was great. It was definitely one of the better villains of the series. And having played through, this is 7 games over 3 entries. Yeah. 6 games. 6 games over 3 entries. So it seems to be they release a numbered entry and then they release an offshoot. Far Cry 3 was, that pivotal game that everyone kind of got on.
Blood Dragon.
Yeah, and then Blood Dragon was stupid and fun. There was 4, which was set in Nepal, which was one of the better ones, which is also one my dad loves. And then I played Primal, which is Preolithic, which I talked about, which is super cool. And the things they did with that. Then you did 5, and it's the most believable villain. And then you go to New Dawn, which is set after 5. It's about 17 years. And there's a cataclysmic event. It's like, be as cryptic as possible. And you get 2 new characters, but then you get recurring characters as well. And some of the recurring characters, I don't know if any of them were really believable, but in terms of like the way they survived. Like some of them were, some of them weren't. The new villain characters they never hit home the same way that Joseph does in Far Cry 5. And like the whole cult thing survives in this 17-year time gap. But they're never as threatening as they were in before, and they kind of become the villain. I don't know, just as the side sequel, I guess is probably the best way to look at it. To Far Cry 5, it's like it really feels like a miss. You really got some cool vehicles in, like you finally got planes. So I spent a lot of time in Far Cry 5 running around in my shark painted Spitfire, like just for the fuck of it. Like it was so much fun to fly around in. They obviously in post-apocalyptic world, they're like, oh, no planes. No, you can't have those anymore. It's like, well, I just spent my 70-hour game really getting into the planes you developed. Like, why would you rip those out? Helicopters didn't really mean anything. Your wingsuit's back, then all your guns. The gun designs were super cool because they were post-apocalyptic in like, instead of having a proper knob to fix your sniper zoom, you had a pipe socket wrench kind of tap handle thing. So they were doing that kind of thing. It was like, yeah, that's fun. And I've finished the story. I've got like these the best thing that came out of it was the expeditions. So they set up a limited map based on, it's the same map as Far Cry 5, same valley, same into space, but they've reduced it severely. They put radiation zones in so you can't go the same lengths that you could before. So it's probably about a 2/3 of the size map that you had in Far Cry 5. But then they added this thing called expeditions where you jump in a helicopter and you fly astronomically far sometimes, if I'm actually going to be like thinking about the distance in America that they're talking about. But yeah, you do these things and you drop into like and that's what I was doing today before I came on this. I was playing these and it's like you jump in, you've got to go pick up a package and then you pick up the package for 30 seconds. When 30 seconds goes, after that, every single enemy on the map and every single enemy coming in knows exactly where you are and they all come gunning for you. And you've got to wait out 2 minutes for a helicopter to land so that you can jump in it and escape.
That sounds a lot like the end of the dark zones in the Division.
I think, I wouldn't be surprised if it's like almost.
Is it called the Division? Is that the right game?
The Division.
Yeah. So it's just kind of like that, and it's a time thing. But the thing is, leading up to picking up that package, you can be as stealthy as you want. I have now developed a speedrun system where I run as straight as I can. I have the best weapons in the game. So I go, pow, 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 pow. Fuck you. Pick up the thing and just go, shit. All right. Find the closest corridor I can and put as many proximity mines down as I can without them exploding them. Every car that comes in blows them up. And then I go, oh, helicopter's here. See you later. Bye. But it's fun. Like, it's still fun. Like, and I've fucked them up plenty of times and I still get killed.
So are these new little maps that it drops you into?
Yeah, but you repeat them. There's only 7 of them, but they get more difficult. They put more difficult enemies in. So the enemy armor gets better and like
it almost sounds a bit like a PUBG style map, but obviously
kind of, yeah. I think the thing that you got to think about is like being a post-apocalyptic, and this has taken so many references from Mad Max, in that the entire new enemy category in this are all wearing like motorbike gear, but with various bone elements.
Mad Max.
Yeah, it's so Mad Maxian. But yeah, it's fun. It's just,
are you going to play 6?
When it becomes free on the PS Extra, then yeah, I will. I have, as someone who never played a Far Cry game, I've now grown to appreciate them. I wouldn't say I've grown to love them. Far Cry 5 was definitely the one that I really enjoyed, and it was creepy as fuck. The characters were believable. It reaffirmed a few things I had in my mind about, certain religious organizations and cults and stuff. That's like, yeah, they would all 100% act like this.
I think we've talked about those religious organizations on the podcast.
Yeah, but it's Ubisoft, man. There's still plenty of flaws.
Yeah. There's flaws in every game, but
yeah, it's fun. And look, I was definitely trying to platinum it before we got on the podcast, and I've got 2 of these expedition missions to go, and then I have.
Did you plat 5?
Yep. I did that over the last
I was
week.
teasing you before, by the way.
Oh, I know. Yeah, no.
But this has either been a really big game or you haven't been
70
playing
hours,
it as quickly
70 hours into this. Yeah.
for Far Cry 5.
Yeah.
Because it was literally 2 episodes prior to this one that you've talked about it in Are You Winning, Son?
That's the thing.
Which is probably the longest you've taken to plat a game.
Yeah, but it's a world that I really kind of got into. I love the multiplayer as well. I know I talked about that before, but the modability of the multiplayer. So I actually had a kind of quite unique, fun moment the other night where I was helping some other guy get his plat for it, and the only thing he had to do was he had to win 10 maps, and so you could boost it. So I just sat in there, but the map he chose, because this is the things you can create in their multiplayer, like creating thing is. It's a dodgeball arena, so there's a gap in the middle that you can't jump over because I tried every which way. No matter how I timed it, I could not get across. Instead of throwing dodgeballs at each other, you're throwing instant kill shovels, and it's just it's dumb as fuck. There's fireworks going off. There's neon lights. It's so stupid, but fuck.
So it's a 420 multiplayer game.
Oh no, but this is I think I talked about it the first time I talked about it is the multiplayer in like the map building. They were doing full rebuilds of N64 GoldenEye levels. It's so creative, and you've just got to throw it out there to the modding community. Like,
yeah,
and I don't talk about them enough because
if you do it right, it keeps a game alive.
Oh, 100%. And it's the same with Doom 2016. That's why that multiplayer is still alive. Is because you can mod it and you can have fun with it. You can build your own maps, and it's just
the only reason why anyone plays GTA online still.
Yeah, 100%.
Like 10 years later.
Yeah,
they don't do enough of it in video games anymore. I don't think, but it does literally keep games alive.
And this is the thing, and you know how much I fucking got over Destiny. But if Destiny let you build your own maps, holy shit, that would have changed the gaming landscape online.
It would have been a better game to play.
But yes, I am winning, son. I've basically finished, and then I don't know what I'm going to do between now and Jedi Survivor. I might play Forspoken. I might go back and play Jedi Order again, just to refresh.
Yeah. Jedi Order before. Yeah, that's probably a good idea, actually. See if I can do it a Sui style and be super arrogant in my gameplay and try and
zip through it.
Skip all the content.
Yeah.
But that's me winning.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think that's it for the episode. Yeah.
That's us. My bladder's full. So, Pete, you need 30 seconds. You need to pull the pin now.
Okay. Thanks for listening.
I'm going to go watch Mandalorian.
Good night.